You hitting it or you want me to? Okay. You're live.
Because we live, bitches.
Coming soon to the theater.
Yeah.
It's alive. It's moving. It's coming this way.
What up, everybody? Welcome to CG Horror Movie Club, the club where we talk about, surprise, shocker, horror movies. Tonight we are going to be talking about a personal favorite of mine, which is 1935's Bride of Frankenstein, the sequel to 1932's Frankenstein by James Whale. But anyway, first and foremost, let's introduce my co-host. First of all, we got my boy, your boy, definitely your boy. That's without question. Matt Butch Cleaver Birch. What up, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Sorry I missed your stream before, man.
Oh, that's all
We
good.
did not get any notifications at all, bro. I did not get a notification. He didn't. We're trying to find your channel. We can't find your channel. What the hell happened to your channel, bro?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll work out the kinks, but I just been
Yeah,
having like
send us the link again so we can make sure we're subbed and didn't get like bumped or something, because I didn't get no notification at all. I even went looking at 6 o'clock. Where's Matt?
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I got that message like I got your link like kind of late, and I've been just having like a crazy kind of fucking day. So I apologize. And speaking of apologies, the guy who should just apologize just for existing, Pops. What's up, brother?
This is my fucking fault, dude.
That's all. Everything.
I will take it on, man. I'll take the blame for everything. No, just so everybody knows, 8 destinations, people. This thing is on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all over the freaking place, and we're just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. So roll with it.
Yeah, like the blob.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just
We'll
gonna
be
like
consuming people. Yeah.
just gobbling them up and just increasing our gelatinous mass.
It's a horror club. What can I tell you?
Oh man!
What's up, Simon?
Woo.
Simon in the chat.
Simon in the chat. What up, Simon? Yo to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Like I said tonight, we were talking about a personal favorite of mine, Bride of Frankenstein from 1935. If you've never seen it before, link should be down in the description. It is on Tubi, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to get to this movie. Is first of all, it's a movie I watch every October. It's on my Halloween playlist, right alongside Abbott and Costello, Frankenstein, Mad Monster Party. And it's one of those pictures where if you haven't seen it and you're a horror fan, you owe it to yourself to see it. I can't guarantee that you're going to like it. I can't guarantee that you're going to like anything. But I personally think that this is an incredibly special film, and I'm not alone in thinking that. It is widely regarded by critics and fans alike as really the pinnacle of the Universal Studios, Universal Monsters cycle of films. And there's a lot of great movies in there, so I think that's saying something. Real quick, Weekend Horror. Have you guys seen Terrifier 2 yet?
No. I wish. I've been a little under the weather the last few days, to be honest. But yeah, I'd love to go and see that movie. I did watch we did the first one last week, but Yeah.
Yeah,
You see it?
No. I have it. I have access to it, but I haven't watched it yet. Because it's like 2.5 hours long.
Shit, that's epic. That's like Rob Zombie status right there. That's crazy.
Well,
That's like him in his Halloween movie.
Oh my God, that's not
That's how it
necessarily
was. That's how long
a
it
good
was.
sign. Really?
Yeah,
Now I have another reason for not watching Rob Zombie's Halloween. Fuck that shit.
Because it's the whole origin of Michael Myers. And his dad's William Forsythe, and he's beaten. He's like, oh, it's crazy.
Oh God.
So you haven't seen it yet?
No. Here's the thing. It's like I love the fact that we're living in an age when movies can be 3 hours long, right?
Yep.
Because very often you had films where you're like, oh, if they just given this a little bit more room to breathe, it would have been 100 times better. Right. So we've gotten a lot of truncated films as a result of that, 90 minutes to a 2 hour standard running time. Now it's like 2 hours to 3 hours, right?
Right.
And not every movie should be fucking 2.5, 3 hours long.
No.
And that's what worries me is, you look at something like The Raid, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Which is like an awesome movie. One of the things that makes it so awesome is how lean it is. Mm-hmm. It's like 90 minutes, no fat.
Right.
It's just completely pared down. And then there's The Raid 2, which is like 2.5 hours long, and it's just like just filler. And it's not, and I mean that it's just filler, which is to say, this is the same fucking story we've heard 100,000 times before. There's nothing new here. Get to the damn fights.
It ain't The Dark Knight. That's what you're saying.
Yes. There's no, or Lawrence of Arabia or Spartacus.
I just feel like when The Dark Knight came out, every fucking sequel and a lot of movies were like, let's make The Dark Knight. And you even like just in media, like across different platforms, you hear that James Newton Howard like theme-esque of The Dark Knight, like that dun 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 dun. Like you just hear those cues like in different things, like it just steamrolled that. But going back to the longevity, the Batman, that movie was way too long. It was 3 hours long.
Yes.
It should have been trimmed up. You watched it, right?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it, but it could have lost a half an hour.
Easily.
Right? And the Snyder cut of Justice League is 4 hours long. That could have lost an hour.
I agree with you too on that one. For me, it was a little too long. Well, for me, like I'm gonna keep it real simple. For me, all I wanted in that movie, because I'm basic Burke, I like the fights. I wanted more Batman fighting, and I didn't get none of that. You know what I mean? It got a little more or less Tony Starkian Ben Affleck, but he wasn't fighting. If you see the end of Batman vs Superman, he goes in the warehouse to save Superman's mother. He's destroying people Arkham style, and like that's like the tone center. That's after that.
That's the best. And I always looked at the Arkham games and thought, why don't they do that?
Yeah, it's the best iteration of Batman ever, in my humble opinion.
Well, certainly with the fight scenes, right? I mean, you want to see Bats whipping some ass, and then Batfleck is the most ruthless Batman ever.
Yeah. Right. And I heard he might have signed up for three more movies, so that was pretty. Sounds like fun.
I'm trying to watch it on my TV, Mrs. Good Stuff. That's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get the show on my TV.
Must see TV.
What up? What up, Mrs. Good Stuff? Say yo to Mr. Good Stuff for us, and Noble Comments.
Hail the good stuff.
A lot of meandering in the Batman. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Not even going to attempt a Snyder cut. I would, but you don't have to sit down and watch it like as a 4 hour movie. I sat down and watched it as two hour movies.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I especially the last hour of that movie, I was grinning like an idiot.
I broke it up over 4 days, to be honest. I think it was 3 or 4 days, but I enjoyed it, and I like.
Well, dude, it's the last time. It was the first time in a long time that I found myself actually losing myself in a superhero movie.
Right. Yeah, and he had a lot of lore in there too, like a lot of the old like Kirby stuff, like Granny was in there. And I've seen Darkseid. I like his version of fucking Steppenwolf, which is better than the comic. I think what Snyder did. Like, there's a lot of stuff Snyder did. Everyone hates on Snyder for multiple reasons, but I like his movies. I don't give a fuck. I actually like most of his movies. I'm not a big fan of the Guardians of Ga'Hoole and the Sucker Punch is all right, but it's just like, but I like 300. I thought the Watchmen was cool.
Army of Dead. Army of the Dead is hot garbage. Dawn of the Dead.
Didn't see that.
Dawn of the Dead remake is good.
Dawn of the Dead's
good. 300 is really good.
Love that. I think that's his best movie.
Watchmen is very loyal to the comic, and it improves on the ending, but it's curiously bloodless. I feel like it's there's something very phoned in about it. Like I'm like, where's the director?
Like they were being too nice.
No, that's not it. That's not it. Like there was a certain personality that was just wasn't there. There was something missing. That's why I refer to it as bloodless or anemic. There's this. Yeah, it lacked that vital spark.
Right.
And
I hear you.
Speaking of vital sparks, we're going to be talking a lot about vital sparks tonight since we're doing Bride of Frankenstein. But the Watchmen movie just I think technically very well made, but it left me cold, and that's why I always don't think of Zack Snyder as an artist. I think of him as a visual stylist.
I think he's better with like a script. Like he can kick some fucking ass. Like you get a good writer. I think he's
better with Christopher Nolan. I think he's better with Christopher Nolan because I think that's why Christopher Nolan got him to do Man of Steel. He was just like, oh, this guy's a visual stylist. Mm-hmm. We'll use like his visual style, but kind of like hang over his shoulder. And then of course with Batman v Superman, that's when he was just cut loose to just do his own thing, and it was a fucking catastrophe. The 3-hour version is much better. Yeah,
with the freighter, the black freighter.
Yes.
I didn't watch it, but I wanted to. It's long, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just didn't ask for it, don't want it, don't need it. And I'm by no means a Zack Snyder stan at all. But the 3-hour version of Batman v Superman is a significant improvement. Still a lot of stuff wrong with that movie, but it's almost redeems that film.
Fuck Luthor. Fuck Doomsday. Doomsday is one of my favorite villains, and he's a basic fucking dude, and they fucking made him into a troll from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I got some good news for you though. Guess what I got in my email? I got free tickets to go see a free screening of Renfield on Thursday. It's like I got but I'm not gonna go watch it because just like I didn't go see the Demeter one either, But I want to. They'll probably be there too. The Nicolas Cage and shit over in Long Beach, I guess. I've been getting emails for 10 years. I just never go.
Ah, shit, dude. That's frustrating. I mean, I'm sure you got your reasons and stuff, but
I'm just kind of under the weather right now. I've been sleeping a lot every day, trying to get better.
That's always the best cure for sickness is sleep. Like if I have a cold or something like that, I'll just wake up after sleeping, pop a sleeping pill, go back to sleep.
Right.
Until I'm better. Pop says Laughing Rogue is making us our own Too Hot Madness sauce. Carolina Reapers. Oh shit, I ain't touching that shit.
Dude, he made a Path of the Pale sauce for Laurie's campaign.
Oh really? Oh wow.
I got some. And he goes, man, ghost peppers. You let me know what you think, Pops. And I was like, oh, it's not bad. It's pretty good. But more ghost peppers, bro. So he is taking it upon himself to try to bury me with heat. And he's coming at me with the Carolina Reapers, our own madness Too Hot sauce.
Wow.
Get ready, guys. We're going all over the place, man. I don't even
here's the problem with food that's too damn hot. It burns on the way in, it burns on the way out. I'm not into it. If it's so hot I can't taste the food.
Yeah, it's too hot.
If I'm just in physical pain.
Yeah.
Then I'm just
I've never been like that. So
oh, you're immune, is what you're saying.
Kinda. I don't know. I mean, 35 years in Arizona, and it's like almost every day there was some form of salsa, hot sauce, something in something. Right. I mean, have there been times when I've blown my ass out and It was hot, yeah, but it was still worth the meal.
Yeah, I hear you. I know. You just pay for it. That's all.
Yeah. Some things are worth the consequences, right?
Sim says they mentioned Doomsday. That one was another, like Luthor is supposed to be the son of the actual Luthor or a clone. Yeah, retcon that shit.
Red clone.
Yeah. I mean, Batman v Superman. I walked out of that movie thinking, okay, time to hit the reset button. Like I thought it was that catastrophic. I was like, that's it. Boop. Start over again. Even though I really like Batfleck and of course Henry. And Henry, of course, we got the news. Henry finally officially back after years of being cock-blocked. Because for some reason in Hollywood, they do not like that guy.
They don't, dude. They were trying to go, I guess The Rock. I saw a red carpet interview with him. He was saying that he was working for 6 years and then the old management wouldn't let it get done. But now they're gone. Walter Hamada and some other bitch. And now they got in Zaslav and he's going in there fucking everybody up. Canceling movies.
The theory is that, this is the theory that I favor, that they don't like him because he refuses to get political. So, and since he refuses to get political, that means that he's a right-winger, a secret right-winger. And also he dated Gina Carano.
Right. So
I think there's guilt by association there. That's my theory, because they hate him the way that they hate...
Nobody wants to be used. They just want to use it. They just want to take these people and make them into figureheads for their agenda. And, hey, I don't care how much money you throw at me. I'm still going to be me.
That's not essential.
Oh, yeah, of course. It is.
That one's way better. You get Clark Kent fucking being an investigative reporter in there. Again, for me, the only thing... You get Clark Kent. And the only thing I didn't like about that movie, again, was Lex Luthor. I actually like him at the end of... I forgot what fucking movie it was where he's got his bald head and he's on a yacht and you got Joe Manganiello coming up as Deathstroke.
Yeah, that was better.
Then I was like, all right, cool. I can accept that.
Damage control.
That in the Doomsday just pissed me off. I got so mad when I seen that Doomsday.
Yeah.
Because I love Doomsday. I love his suit. I love the entrance where he's like punching through the what I mean? And just slowly like ripping away,
Yeah, but the fight is whack. And
it is.
Final thought on the Batman versus Superman extended edition. It is way better. It is way better. The main thing that it fixed for me was that it explains why Batman is a killer. Right? Because when I saw the theatrical version, the moment I saw him kill somebody, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm out. Like, just mentally, I was out. I was like, this movie just lost me. Really? And yes. And so I was like, okay. Then I watched the 3-hour version and I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get the concept, which is right, like multiverse style shit, where this is a fallen Batman. This is Batman after Robin gets killed by the Joker. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. And I'm not pulling my punches, and you all can die as far as I'm concerned. The story is about him getting his faith back.
Yeah,
so that
it is.
And he's not that Batman anymore.
No.
So I mean, it's a major improvement. There are things I really like about it. It is worth seeing for the great parts, but it's still a colossal bungle. Jeff, what's up, brother?
What's up, man?
You would not believe the retarded time I had getting on here. My phone's got all my autosave passwords and all that stuff. I had to go into Google Chrome, which I hate doing, to get my passwords. But for some reason, my password for Google doesn't work. So I finally figured out, how it always happens when you're trying to do all this stuff and then you got to take a piss. And that's, cherry on top. So I finally got it sent to my mail from my other mail, and I am here.
Nice.
Yes, that's what I think.
Did all of you fellows watch tonight's movie, The Bride of Frankenstein?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. Because I hate to be having a conversation with myself. Exactly. And Superman gave him hope again. Exactly. It's kind of like in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. He starts out as a killer, and then at the end of the movie, Kingpin's like, well, why don't you kill me? Because I'm not the bad guy.
Yeah.
Church.
The things I liked, I took notes, but something happened and they went away. But one of the things I really liked was that servant lady. You know, she was just like, you know, when she tried to act like freaked out by seeing Frankenstein.
Yes.
Or like you know, the gag where they lead him, like she pulls out, the other lady pulls out what she thinks is her husband. You know, these people, and all you gotta do is
there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of comedy.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's almost like they were prophesied the advent of the television evangelist, because all he has to do to kill anybody is just tap them on the head and they fall over.
Right. Yeah.
The one thing I really liked was, like, you know, not more than once was "shut up, woman," like, or how they like they thought he was. I could go on. They thought he was dead. He turns out to just be unconscious. He wakes up, and then just like a half hour later, this guy comes in and goes, "Woman, leave. I need to talk to your husband. We're gonna go." And they cut straight to the carriage. Goes right through all the whole. But you almost died. I love you. You should really get back in bed. You know, it's like, we're just gonna do our thing.
Yeah. That scene that you were mentioning before is with Una O'Connor. Okay. And there's a movie, a really fantastic movie with Brendan Fraser and Magneto from the X-Men movies.
Oh, okay.
Somebody help me.
Gods and Monsters?
Yes. Anyway, he plays the guy plays Gandalf. He plays James Whale in that, because the movie is about the last days and the life of
motherfucker.
What? Pops, what are you doing?
Oh.
You're fucking up my stream, bro.
Oh.
There we go. I just muted Pops. God damn it. In Gods and Monsters, they show James Whale watching Bride of Frankenstein on television with his housekeeper, and when they're watching that scene, he starts cracking up. He's like, "Oh, good old Una, clucking like a chicken."
Yeah, Una.
Yes, and you know what? Let's to get things rolling, let's take a look at the trailer, because. Nice. Yeah. Now, obviously, folks, I'm going to have to stop these clips periodically so that we don't get yanked off the
tubes of view.
Yes, off the tubes of view. And let's see. Do I even have the trailer here? Wait a second. Why am I asking you guys? I shouldn't be asking you guys.
What?
Let's see. No, I don't. But I do have some other videos that I'm going to be able to play, and there's no better place to start than with the beginning. The film opens up, and it's really a interesting, to say the least, introduction, because you're expecting to be dropped into a horror film, and instead you are dropped into the Via Diodati in 1960.
Again, dude. I just got bit by my dog again, dude.
Again?
Yeah. That's what I yelled. He come up and he bit me, and I'm like, "Hey, motherfucker, dude!"
I had to put him down.
No, I can't put him down. He's a good dog. He's just a dumbass sometimes, man.
He's a dog.
Yeah. I'm not walking my dogs anymore. They brought me to my knees for the second and last time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like yanking you around?
Yeah. All they had to do was find another dog and ruin another pair of jeans. I mean, you guys, I can't afford to train you. Yeah. In front of the neighbors.
Oh, even worse. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't in front of like some hot chick that you like have a thing for.
Right.
You gotta look at the the
silver lining.
The glass is half full.
There
it is. Okay.
And the philosopher says, "What glass?" Oh, that's good.
Right.
The engineer says the glass is always full.
Yes. So anyway, when the film opens, it opens in the Via Diodato. Oh, I'm sorry, Via Diodati, which is the via in Switzerland, right off of Lake Geneva, where very famously on a stormy night in 1816, the people who were leasing the place for that summer were inspired by the storm. Now, the person who was actually leasing the place was none other than Lord Gordon George Byron.
Yeah, man.
Mad, bad, and dangerous to know.
Right.
Who had basically been run out of England because of his
fight with the other dog. This is
okay. I'll right back. Give me just a sec.
Okay. So that dude's like a real dude, like a historical dude.
Yeah. So Lord Byron in real life had Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley. Percy Shelley was a writer, and Mary Shelley would go on to write Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. A lot of people believe that he took credit for the book, but that night allegedly they went off to write different stories and short stories, but she came back with this big old Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. From what I gather, from what I remember. What up, Sim?
What's up?
How you doing, brother? You know about this a little bit too, right? About the evening with Lord Byron, possibly.
The evening with Lord Byron.
This night that they've got here,
where Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. You ever hear about that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a movie about that, though, wasn't there?
Probably. I
thought you were talking about a specific movie. I know about the guy. I know about the story. I just if there's a movie, I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it either. I thought it was cool though how they kind of included this part into this movie, and I think that they used the Bride of Frankenstein, the same actors, to play Mary Shelley. They look the same. I think it's
they
think
did.
You're right.
I thought that her teeth looked different. I don't know why that stuck out, but like the Bride of Frankenstein has better teeth than Mary Shelley.
Maybe she's wearing dentures or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But this dude, I was listening to him talk, and I'm like, he's standing there like this. I'm like, he's like getting ready to be painted like the whole time,
like a Rembrandt.
But that was a lot of the acting of back then. It's what they call like Shakespearean or whatever. Like it's always like type of pose where they're just waiting to take a picture or a painting.
Yeah,
posers. That's when.
Yeah.
It's where the posing comes from, because that's how they used to write memories. Like they used to have artists, sketch artists in the stand, and they would take like quick moments and just same thing for pictures. So you have to have that little freeze of a moment pose for people to take a picture or a quick draw, and that's how they used to advertise a lot of their stuff before.
That's cool, man.
That's really interesting.
I think it's crazy though how she wrote Frankenstein allegedly that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the further you go, the more interesting it gets. It's like if you go far enough, like theater, like before black and white movies and stuff like that, there was no woman acting.
Oh yeah. I knew about that part, but I didn't know about the nuances. I took my microphone sock off the foam thing my dog chewed as soon as I took it out of the box. So do I sound weird?
No, you sound fine.
Okay.
The interesting thing about the Universal Dracula and Frankenstein is that they're not really based on the novels. They're based on the stage plays by John Balderston. And those plays were very, very popular, and Mary Shelley actually lived to be in the audience for a performance of Frankenstein, and said that she enjoyed it thoroughly.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, she took it as an adaptation in the right spirit.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. I just needed to kind of reset. So the movie opens 1816, Lake Geneva, the Via Diodati. And the person leasing it at the time, George Gordon Lord Byron, mad, bad, and dangerous to know. And his guests are Percy Shelley and his lovely young bride, although I don't think they were officially married at that time, Mary Shelley. And also John Polidori, who isn't in this scene, unfortunately, who was Byron's friend and doctor. What happened was there was a tumultuous storm, and they had been talking about German ghost stories, at a book of German ghost stories. And Gothic literature was just really starting to take off. The Castle of Otranto, which is what is widely considered as the first Gothic horror novel, had been released and done incredibly well. Its author, Horace Walpole, was like the first goth because he built a home for himself called Strawberry Hill, which was built as a ruin. That's to say, it was like a Gothic ruin that was like that was new, but it was designed to look like it was old. And here's like the coolest, most badass, most pimpin' rock star thing of all. After he died, it collapsed.
Wow.
So, I mean, obviously, one of the first places I would want to go if I were in England would be like Strawberry Hill. It's like, yeah, it collapsed like right after he died, like the fall of the House of Usher.
I was about to say it's like the fall of the House of Usher.
That's exactly what it's like, dude. It's exactly what it's like. So I mean, it's just like badass, even at death. It's like peace.
Hey, Brian, is that the bride right there? The same actress that playing Mary Shelley? Is she playing the bride too, bro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had to make sure because you're the computer, bro. Yep.
Yeah. When I was at university, I was an English lit major, and my focus was on, surprise, shocker, Gothic literature. And so I have read a lot about that night and what transpired on that night. There have also been a number of films that have come out about that night. There's one that was made, I think, in 1990 by Ken Russell, which is a lot of fun. It's called Gothic. And then also, I think that same year, there was another movie that was about that evening and about that whole summer, actually, called Haunted Summer. Anyway, what happened was
that's the one I was talking about. Sorry to interrupt, but that's the one I was talking about. Like, they go about like the whole storm, and if I'm not mistaken, were they not tripping? I mean,
not that we know of. In Gothic,
probably, but not officially.
Slamming absinthe.
Slamming absinthe, smoking opium.
Probably, yeah.
You know, you're talking about Byron.
Possible.
Here. Byron was like, like I said, mad, bad, and dangerous to know. He had a reputation for partying pretty hard and for being a bit of a sexual libertine. Now, of course, this is all stuff that today probably would be like considered mild behavior.
Just normal for some people.
For some people,
yeah,
right.
Party people.
Yeah, and so he left because of a scandal, and then the Shelleys joined him because there was a scandal there because they weren't officially married yet, and except Percy was married to another woman, and they kind of like absconded together. So a lot of drama and bad news there. So when what happened that night was that they proposed, like, hey, why don't we each of us write a ghost story? And the thing that's really interesting is that two legends were born that night, and neither of them came from the actual writers, right? Percy and Byron, they didn't produce anything, right? They tried to write stories, they fizzled out, they had nothing. But their companions did. And Mary Shelley, of course, wrote Frankenstein, and John Polidori, Byron's friend and physician, wrote The Vampire, which was a big success and directly inspired Bram Stoker to write Dracula. So that's considered, it's regarded as like a very important night in literary history. And actually,
yeah, and she ended up writing the first sci-fi horror ever.
Ever.
Technically, technically the first science fiction.
Yep.
Yes.
Sci-fi horror.
Yep. And isn't
Look at
it
those
interesting
windows.
that Yep. And remember too, they weren't setting out to write a science fiction story. They were setting out to write a horror story.
Yep.
Ghost, yeah.
Right? And there's been debate in academic circles. Of course, now there's no debate because you'd get canceled even for suggesting such a thing. But a lot of people suggested that Shelley actually ghost wrote the novel for her and let her put her name on it, which is bullshit because that she had to put a male name on it just to get it published.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Now, do I think Shelley had a major part? Do I think he was instrumental? Absolutely. I think she wrote the novel, but that he was her editor.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I
That
regard
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah.
Or the person that she would pitch her ideas to.
Yeah, which would be an editor.
No. But
yeah.
I mean, like your friend, like we all have a friend that we're like, hey, dude, I'm thinking of doing this. Like at least that, if not the official editor. But yeah.
Exactly. So let's take a look at this. Look at the scene, and also it's worth pointing out that Elsa Lanchester plays both Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley in this, and of course the bride of Frankenstein. It's one of the things I think that makes this movie so. It's one of many reasons this movie is so intriguing.
Yeah, in the credits, it was like, and the monsters play, or the bride is played by like question mark.
Yes. Yep. All right, let's take a quick peek here. Hopefully not get ganked, so.
Not get what?
Let's see.
Yanked.
Yanked.
You'll notice here that Karloff is simply presented as Karloff.
Yep.
Yes.
Sting, Madonna, Karloff.
Yep.
The
Colin Clive, of course, from the previous film as Dr. Frankenstein, Dr. Henry Frankenstein for some reason. Valerie Hobson as Elizabeth Frankenstein. Elsa Lanchester, of course, as both Mary Shelley and the Bride of Frankenstein. O.P. Heggie, he plays the blind man. And then, of course, you have Una O'Connor, who is our...
nagging.
Our clown. Our Shakespearean clown.
Yeah.
Wait a second, I missed the... Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah, at the very bottom, you can see the monster's mate? Question mark. Yay, we already got porn bots.
What?
Big one.
They're on your channel, not mine.
Psych. Yeah, look how the sets, of course, are absolutely fantastic. I think Jeff was pointing out those gigantic French windows. And
Dude, look, is that like a mantle over the fireplace? That whole wall is badass.
Of course. And the sets in these movies, of course, are always fantastic, especially the ones that are directly inspired by the German Expressionist horror movies. It's important to remember that the early Universal monster movies, they're American versions of German horror films.
How beautifully dramatic! The cruelest, savage exhibition of nature at her worst without. And we three. We elegant three within. I should like to think that an irate Jehovah was pointing those arrows of lightning directly at my head, the unbowed head of George Gordon Lord Byron, England's greatest sinner. But I cannot flatter myself to that extent. Possibly those thunders of our dear Shelley, heaven's applause for England's greatest poet.
What of my Mary?
She is an angel.
Oh, yeah, she sure is. I'm sorry, guys. I got a thing for Elsa.
You think so?
You hear? Come, Mary. Come and watch the storm.
You know how lightning alarms me. Shelley, darling, will you please light these candles for me?
Oh, I'll light your candle, honey. Oh, interesting little detail here.
The candles are already lit. That's the interesting detail.
Yes. No, I just love this story. When the costume designer was creating the costume for Elsa Lanchester's Mary Shelley, Whale asked that there be little moons and little stars sewn into the dress. And so the seamstress told him, well, look, that's not going to turn up on film. That's not going to show up on camera. Like, nobody's going to know that they're even there. And he said, I'll know. That tells you the kind of guy that James Whale was. He was also very flamboyantly gay in a time where, like, it really was not acceptable. So he gave zero fucks.
Hey, darling. Astonishing creature.
Aye, Lord Byron.
Oh, yeah. Give me that look, baby.
Frightened of thunder, fearful of the dark, and yet you have written a tale that sent my blood into icy creeps. Look at her, Shelley. Can you believe that bland and lovely brow conceived of Frankenstein? A monster created from cadavers.
Rifled graves?
Out of rifled graves? Isn't it astonishing?
I don't know why you should think so. What do you expect? Such an audience needs something stronger than a pretty little love story. So why shouldn't I write of monsters?
No wonder Murray's refused to publish the book. He says his reading public would be too shocked.
It will be published, I think.
Too much.
Then, darling, you will have much to answer for.
The publishers did not see that my purpose was to write a moral lesson. The punishment that befell a mortal man who dared to emulate God.
Now, that's what we call insurance right there. Because fact of the matter is, Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley were both atheists.
Well, whatever your purpose may have been, my dear, I take great relish in savoring each separate horror.
But remember, this came out like in 1935.
I roll them over on my tongue.
Don't, Lord Byron.
Yeah, you do.
Don't remind me of it tonight.
What a setting in that church.
And that's the other thing that's odd about this scene, because it seems to be like it's that night, but then it's already happened.
Yeah.
So this isn't that night. This is a night that's basically giving them a flashback to that night.
Right.
When they were all inspired to take up writing their own ghastly little versions of a German horror story.
It's bleeding.
There. I do think it a shame, Mary, to end your story quite so suddenly.
Yeah, she just gave like a rundown of the events of the previous film.
That wasn't the end at all.
Oh, really? I think we have a sequel on our hands.
Would you like to hear what happened after that? I feel like telling it. It's a perfect night for mystery and horror. The air itself.
Yeah, those guys are both creepy on her.
Well, they did believe in free love, all three of them, so.
I'm all ears. While heaven blasts the night without, open up your pits of hell.
Well then, imagine yourself standing by the wreckage of the mill. The fire is dying down. Soon.
And there's the burning windmill from the previous film. Now, what did you guys think of this of Bride of Frankenstein? Just your general impressions before we go any deeper.
Well, I didn't think as much as you did, because I didn't have like the history. I didn't have like the backstory of these actual characters.
You shouldn't have to.
Well, no, but so So what I guess I'm saying that so that I can say the acting was over the top. The rolling R's and this whole posing for like, you know, a painting of everyone signing the Constitution, you know.
Yes.
It's like and that dude loves himself, some of himself.
Oh yeah, well he's playing Byron. If you know anything about Byron,
that's the whole thing. I'm like, that's all I know is like he loves himself, and I'm like, you know, so you know more about him than I do. All I know is he can't get enough of himself.
Oh yeah.
And then then it comes to like every one of these scenes, I've got something, especially with the gypsies. But like he goes to is it Shelley goes to touch? Is that his sister or something? I mean,
no, that's Mary Shelley. That's his
Mary Shelley, and then Byron. Who's the other guy? That guy.
That's Shelley. That's Percy Shelley. Percy Bysshe Shelley, who was at that moment one of the most famous, if not the most famous poet in England.
Relation though, right? Because that would be weird.
No. She was actually at that time Mary Wollstonecraft.
Okay.
And that's why her full name is Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley.
Yeah.
They weren't married at that time. I think they were married afterward. And then, but briefly, because then
yeah, you Percy, said free love, and I'm like, I hope this isn't like a Luke Skywalker Princess Leia type thing.
No.
Caution to the wind.
I mean, understand that Mary Wollstonecraft, Mary Shelley's mother, had written a book called had written an essay, Vindication on the Rights of Women, and her father was also a believer in the vindication of women and also free love. But then when she took up with Percy, he pitched a conniption fit.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't exactly practice what he preached, is what I'm saying. Oh God, look at that lovely profile.
So what he bumps into her and pricks her finger. It's just like a couple of dabs of the handkerchief and everything's okay. I thought that was kind of
cute as a button, didn't she?
Yeah, boy.
Brian's over there going, damn.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I mean, look, and you got to understand that, you know, I've got pictures, posters. My favorite one of Elsa is actually in my bathroom. And it's,
what?
It's a picture. It's a picture of her checking her makeup, you know, in a little compact with a little mirror.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like the Bride of Frankenstein is like, you know, checking her makeup.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. But Matt, what was your general impression going into this? I hope I didn't overhype it.
No, to me, it's almost like a different, in some ways, a different genre than the first one. Right. I think this one brings a little more almost fantastical elements to it.
Yep.
A little more humor, a little more retrospective in the intro to Mary Shelley. You're getting a little more insight into the writer, so they're having fun with that. And then she's talking about, I got a new story for you. So I thought that was cool. I also just like all the iconography in here, man. Just the stuff that we've grown up with to love. You know, I do wish that she was in the movie more. I know that's what a lot of people like, that she just at the end, but I kind of wish that we got her little more halfway through the movie. It might have been pretty cool. But yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, just funny seeing like all the different tropes, like Falbluka and Gene Hackman. You know what I mean? Coming from her, you know, and the blind man. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
Young Frankenstein, one of the things that's interesting about that movie is people love that movie and they've never seen the movies that inspired it.
Right.
The main movie, I mean, that it does reference this film, but it more so references Son of Frankenstein, which was the third movie in the cycle.
But yeah, man, I thought it was cool, and I he's probably my favorite character in here.
Ernest Thesiger.
Yeah, he's just like he's like the teacher to Frankenstein, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, you know, right? And he's come back to kind of cash in, or not cash in, but kind of try to make his own Prometheus, if you will.
Well,
and,
he wants to collaborate.
And he's got his own little means with his little jars, which I thought was kind of cute. the style of effects that they were doing back then with the different emotions
his
per jar.
Homunculi.
His homunculi. And
then
that was kind of the fantastic edge to it. You know what I mean? And just seeing Karloff going around, like kind of smashing stuff up, seeing him physically acting. Like, I'm a big proponent of watching the actor get real, like, move around real quick. Like, you'll see these Hammer movies and the Universal movies and a lot of these movies, a lot of times the actors would just get real aggressive sometimes and real energetic in their performances of doing their own stunts. You know, like you see Christopher Lee, for example, run up and jump over a table and like tackle some dude in Dracula's throne room. In here, you see Karloff just kind of grabbing people and throwing them, and then when they do the stunt where they like kind of put him in that crucifixion thing, you know, and they bring him down, you know, like that was, it looked like that was Karloff doing his own stunts.
I guarantee you it was. Absolutely, because he was a notorious trooper.
Yeah, dude. And for me, that unfortunately, I'm not just watching the movie when I'm watching this. All this stuff's going into my head as I'm digesting it, and I cannot keep it out of my head as I'm watching it, you know. But other than that, to be honest, I like Frankenstein more. That one's my favorite one out of the Karloff Frankenstein films. I like the first one, dude. I love that one where he comes on screen, you first see him. To me, that's pretty scary.
It's one of the great horror film entrances of all time. The
and
way
hers
that
is
he
epic
backs
too.
into the room, and then
it's scary.
turns. Yeah, it's spooky. It's spooky as hell. Ernest Thesiger, he plays Dr. Pretorius in this, who is, I think, in many ways, a stand-in for James Whale himself. And he was a guy that he knew from like the British theater world, because that's where James Whale got his start, was in theater in London. And in this, Pretorius is very much kind of like a decadent aesthete, if that makes any sense. That's to say, he's like an Oscar Wildean kind of a character. Who really is not only not pious, he is quite in the opposite direction. And this is a moment where after he shows up, like Frankenstein, it turns out survives, having been thrown from the burning windmill. He is spirited back to Castle Frankenstein, where it turns out he's not dead after all. He lives. And Thesiger's character, Dr. Pretorius, shows up to show him his experiments with homunculuses. Homunculuses were creatures that were talked in occult texts, specifically alchemical texts. That I think Paracelsus, for instance, talked about having created homunculi. They're usually created with like a drop of blood or semen, one or the other, and you kind of like grow like this little creature from it. And he actually grew like these little tiny humans, and
like a sea monkey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is one of the most famous moments and one of the most famous scenes in the film and in all of horror film history, where he raises a glass of gin, which he insists is his only weakness, and says, "To a new world of gods and monsters," a line that has been referenced and used over and over and over again, and it doesn't come from the novel. It comes from this film specifically. Let's take a look at the homunculi, as a matter of fact.
What's up, ID Crisis? What's happening?
Oh, what up, ID? Man? What up, dude?
Wait, I was just watching the other horror show.
What other horror show? There's no horror show but this, man.
The Fetterman Dr. Oz debate.
Oh. How did that go? Is that a massacre?
Dude, I'm telling you, there was a point, and this is probably bad, a bad look, but I'm like, I almost want Fetterman to win because I want more of that on camera. It's such
what did he just go completely like beast mode?
Dude, he like the very first thing that came out of his mouth was hi, literally, hi, good night, everyone.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Well, his wife is going to be running things anyway, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, he's not. He's basically just like literally big enough for her to just get inside and work like a puppet.
So wait, so
there either.
He suffered a stroke.
So the trend
and never dropped out of the campaign.
Not all there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, neither is our president. So
okay, and that's the thing. I'm like, how much more of this like brain not work stuff you want to be having? That's what the whole thing sounded like. Oh, exactly. I support fracking. I don't like. It was like that Katy Perry thing. Anybody see that earlier today? She kept touching her temple because her left eye, her right eye was closing on its own in the middle of a show. And I don't mean like her eyelash glue stuck because she blinked and one eye open. I mean, just the one that just went. And then I could hear that Windows music, bling, 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 bling. It's like she's like rebooting this part of her head. It was
holy shit.
I know, we're in so much trouble. Jesus,
we
come
are.
back.
Yeah,
please.
I remember there was a video where you had Justin Bieber where something similar was happening to him because he had
Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, of course, no, you can't. You can't sue that company, even though your face is your living, and now it doesn't work.
Oh my God! And so that's like from the jab.
Well, we don't know because but I've never
They won't say.
No, of course.
Yeah. Let's take
Anyways, this is what we all need. Look, it's John Fetterman right in front of me.
Yeah, they never do medical testing on women. When I saw that casket, I was like, because I've never seen this before until later when I found out I actually did see it, but I didn't know what I was watching. I thought, this is how undereducated I am as far as this movie goes and Frankenstein. I thought I was watching Frankenstein because I saw the gypsy part. I saw the gypsy part because I came in like halfway. I'm like, what is this? I knew what it was when I was watching it, but I didn't know what movie it was from. And so I'm like way uneducated. I don't deserve to be immediately underneath you.
What?
I need to be somewhere.
No.
So,
no.
Anyway, the point is, like, I saw that and I'm like, is he gonna pull a baby out of there?
I know, right?
So
yeah, like, is this movie gonna go that hardcore that fast? No. First of all, just because I know more about horror films and horror history and all that stuff, that doesn't make my opinion matter more than anybody else's, right? No. That's why I also like to get the opinions of people that are going into these films cold, right? Mm-hmm. And because that's how you find out if the stuff really still works or not.
Right.
And if what you have is dated or if what you have is immortal. Right? Night of the Living Dead, for instance. I saw that with a audience full of, 20 and 30-somethings, and they were nailed to their seats.
Oh, really?
Yes. Cool. And that was wonderful to see. But, of course, they're also the kind of people, just because they're there, they're the kind of people that aren't going to for instance, have a problem watching a black and white film. Because most normies won't even watch a black and white film.
Nah.
That's why they started colorizing them in the 80s, very poorly, I might add.
Yeah.
Because they figured, if we make it in color, then maybe people will actually still want to watch these movies. And I wasn't as against it as some of the people were. And there was a Senate hearing, and Martin Scorsese and some other people were like, "This is bullshit." To me, I was just like, "Well, what do you care? Because the original movie is still going to be there."
Right.
Yeah. Right. So the way I looked at it was, if this technology actually works, I'll have one more way of watching my favorite movies.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You have it on reel to reel.
Right.
You have it on video cassette, laser disc.
Now, do I think?
DVD.
Right. Do I think a flexi disc, 8-track? Do I think that it was a good idea for Richard P. Rubenstein to drop $2 million to retrofit Dawn of the Dead for 3D? No.
Didn't I never even knew that happened.
Yeah,
me neither.
It's the reason why there's no Blu-ray release of Dawn of the Dead here in America, right? So, did I ask for it? No. Did I want it? No. Would I go watch it? Fuck yes.
Yeah, right.
A
lot of times,
it didn't occur to me that I would want to see it until somebody actually did that.
Did it? Yeah. Like, would I watch that? Yeah.
That Midnight Meat Train, man. That 3D worked in that one. Sometimes the 3D don't work that good.
I remember, and Dave probably remembers this too.
It doesn't work when you're trying to reproduce too much realistic, which creates the uncanny valley effect. But when you're just trying to enjoy it as a cartoon, like you're not trying to reproduce a realistic eyes, even there, like in some movies they try to reproduce a realistic eye within a cartoon. That creates uncanny valley. As soon as your brain is trying to recognize if it's real or not, you're ruining the process. That's what uncanny valley is all about.
Yep.
So
exactly.
We had an event. It was like I think it was like a local Metro Buffalo event where they played.
They did the Creature
from the Black Lagoon, and they're like, okay, everybody.
We talked about that at the show before yours, or at least we talked about it before you came on the last time.
Okay, you guys already covered that with the red shift and everything?
Yeah.
Well, in 1984, I think it was, or somewhere about that time, there was
a
a brief 3D revival. That is, that was when we got Friday the 13th Part 3D, and everything
3D.
Was like Jaws 3D, right?
Yeah,
and
well, it was just like every other special effect or like computer graphics. They started relying on that gimmick instead of actually making a good movie, which is why Jaws 3 sucks.
It's a gimmick, 3D, which in my opinion should be reserved for like horror movies and porn. Right? Because then it makes sense. I could
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on
the new 3D
because it's coming out right at you, and I don't know
exactly.
Maybe sword and sorcery or fantasy.
I do remember. Yeah, I do remember there was a trombone shot.
When I've seen 3D in a theater, it always worked best with animated films.
Yeah, Beowulf was good. That's another one that worked pretty good.
Coraline looked amazing. Yeah, actually did create a sense of depth where you could see from inside a house, and then there was a window, and there was a light outside of the window, and you could see it off in the distance.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. It's still a gimmick, of course.
I watched Tron Legacy in 3D, which wasn't that good because it was dark to begin with, and the glasses made it darker.
Yes.
And you couldn't watch it without them because then you're trapped behind those glasses unless you want to see. It was like blurry or something.
Right. That is the main problem with the new 3D process is that it does make your image 20% darker.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Amazing
Katzenberg.
Spider-Man was the same way.
The Last Action Hero.
Great. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I saw The Last Action Hero, and there was a 3D version.
Oh, no kidding.
And
I like that movie. I don't care what other people say.
I remember because I remember going to theater, putting the glasses on like it was the classic, one. And the reason it's because the freaking bomb would come out of the theater, out of the screen when when he throws the dynamite and it goes into the theater. It goes out of the screen. He would do the same thing. Like I remember it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the stick of dynamite. Yeah.
Soundtrack was great. I played two songs off of that for Lydia the other night.
Shane Black,
my stepdaughter.
The
Angry Again.
Angry Again. Yeah, Megadeth.
Big Gun.
99 Ways to Die.
The Dread 3D looked great in 3D.
Which one was that?
Slow-mo, right?
Especially when they were doing the drug, the slow-mo.
Yeah,
okay. All the stuff that you see like floating through the air, right?
Yeah.
Or when Mama is sitting in her bath and she kind of throws her hand up and it's like watching the water
drip
splashing through the air. Yeah, that all looked absolutely fantastic. Great. Of course, that's what sank that movie at the box office was they only released it in 3D.
That's true.
And people forget it wasn't released as Dread. It was released as Dread 3D.
I did not know that. I bought it. I owned it because I saw it one time and I was like, wow, this.
I remember.
The cool thing about it was that the entire movie took place in just one of those buildings.
Yep.
And
I remember there was a movie with the guy from Supernatural. I think it was Valentine's 3D, wasn't it? It was a remake.
Yeah, My Bloody Valentine 3D.
My Bloody Valentine. Too. Yeah,
I have that.
It was. I remember the effect of the axe when he turns around. Like it was one of the best made freaking. Like he actually came like at you.
They made that movie for 3D. So these movies that they make for 3D, they're always going to be better. A lot of them would do the post-production retrofitted 3D, which would come out as dog shit. Like they did that with Conan, the Marcus Nispel one with Momoa.
Yep.
That sucked. If you
retrofit
it, better.
Did any of you guys saw that little short Arnold Schwarzenegger? I think it was for Terminator 2. They made a little short video that was
where he's getting made.
That was fucking awesome. Like he turned around, takes the gun out. The gun out looked like the arm was out of the freaking screen. It was really well made. Then you had those little robots flying around. They're like, oh shit.
Wasn't that like a thing that they had, like an installation at the Universal Studios or something?
I don't know. I mean, I saw it here in Canada.
Oh, maybe it was.
Okay.
You're in Canada?
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, quick 3D story.
Yeah, it's the World Wide Web.
there's a movie called Hondo with John Wayne. And it was one of the main inspirations for Mad Max 2, actually.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where the Duke is fighting a Native American dude. They're having a knife fight.
A Jewish guy.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
No, they just always
hot take on its way in.
They just
personal experience. This is what
usually
happens.
employed Jewish people for the Indian stuff back in the day.
No, it's true. or Italian brothers too.
Yeah,
right.
Mel Brooks.
Let's not talk about. Yeah,
but there's a scene.
Wasn't gay.
In that scene, like you forget that the movie was made in 3D until they're having the knife fight, and you see them doing this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which I found, it's pretty amusing. But let's take a look at Ernest here. Oh shit, what's he got in there? That can't possibly be good.
A baby.
His face is so EC Comics.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
My
I was going to say, he looks like a Bernie Wrightson image.
Yours, Henry.
Well, don't forget that these movies were also a big inspiration on the EC Comics. I mean,
for sure,
and just horror comics in general, all the way up to like the Marvel Monster comics.
Science, like love, has her little surprises, as you shall see.
Good heavens, Doctor. What are these?
There is a pleasing variety about my exhibits. My first experiment was so lovely that we made her a queen.
That's his wife.
Charming, don't you think? Then, of course, we had to have a king. Now he's so madly in love with her that we have to segregate. Now, I have to be very careful with the king. Now behave. My next production looked so disapprovingly at the other two that they made him an archbishop. He seems to be asleep. I must wake him up.
Wake up, motherfucker!
As the next one.
Throws up some Pope signs.
well, here you could see like a certain contempt for organized religion.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
And conventional morals and conventional mores, right? Which we also got at the very beginning of the film. Although, Mary Shelley in that opening scene pays lip service to God, and that's basically so the movie wouldn't get banned by the Hays Code.
He's the very devil. Very bizarre, this little chap. There's a certain resemblance to me, don't you think?
Now look at these special effects. Look fantastic.
Yeah, they do. I
thought the acting was a lot better.
Well,
the acting was actually a lot better in this than some of the other older movies that you've.
Oh yeah, well we're talking about James Whale here. We're talking about James Whale, who was a visionary, and worked with a lot of the actors that he worked with in the British theater world, like Colin Clive, and like Ernest Thesiger here.
Or do I flatter myself?
I took a great deal of pains with him.
Sometimes I have wondered whether life wouldn't be much more amusing if we were all devils. And no nonsense about angels and being good.
Did you guys catch that line?
Actually, no.
Let's listen to it again.
Okay.
I was looking at Burger King.
Whether life wouldn't be much more
resemblance to me, don't you think? Or do I flatter myself? I took a great deal of pains with him.
Sometimes I have wondered whether life wouldn't be much more amusing if we were all devils. And no nonsense about angels and being good.
Yeah, if we didn't have to worry about consequences for our actions, eternal consequences.
Absolutely. So he's created these creatures, but he needs Henry's help because his problem is that he can create life, but he can't make it on a substantial size.
Mm-hmm.
Even says, like, size is the issue. It's like, I can make these little creatures. You made a big one.
Yeah.
Why don't we jam? Why don't we collaborate? Now, of course, Henry wants nothing to do with this. He realizes that he fucked up. He realizes that he committed a sin against God and man alike. So, what's Dr. Pretorius going to really do other than find some way to get leverage over him? And that's, of course, when he kidnaps Elizabeth. But first, of course, he needs the monster to do that. Now, Karloff said, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about this, because Karloff said that he always felt that the monster should never speak. I couldn't agree with him. I couldn't disagree with him more.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Personally.
His performance in Frankenstein is terrific.
Yeah.
But his performance in this, I think, is transcendent. I think it's lit from within. I think that he plays this character with a great deal of tenderness and care. And he really did care about this character very much. That's why he didn't want to play him in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, because he felt like they were going to make fun of the character, that they were going to make sport of him. And he didn't want to see this character, whom he, like I said, he cared very deeply about, dragged through the mud and made fun of. And then, of course, the funny thing is that that wouldn't have happened, because the thing that makes that the best horror comedy ever is that the monsters are played completely straight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is where, you always feel some sympathy for the monster, but in this, it goes all out. He's getting chased down. He's getting persecuted. He's getting shot. These goons gang up on him, beat the crap out of him with clubs and axe handles, and then they tie him up.
Burning from the first time.
Yeah, and he's already been burnt up. Like, you notice also, some people miss this. You notice the scorched hair.
Yep.
And the eyebrows are missing.
Yeah.
Right? So he can take a look at it and keep on ticking, and that's his problem.
But he spoke in the book. He had dialogue in the book.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
So I don't know why, Karloff would want to depart from the book.
He just felt that it was like a pantomime performance that he was doing in the first film, and he kind of thought that was the way to go. Now, my hope as a child when I saw this was that, oh crap, this is awesome.
Yeah.
In the Son of Frankenstein, maybe we'll get to see him be Shelley's monster. That maybe he'll evolve, and because the idea that I had, and this could also have been originally the plan, is in the first film he's an infant, right? So he can't even talk. In this, he's a child, not a toddler almost, right?
Yeah.
But going into like a teenage stage maybe, and then. In Son of Frankenstein, I was hoping that's when he would be Shelley's monster,
right?
the one that would quote Milton, The one that read The Sorrows of Young Werther and the Bible and Paradise Lost and all that stuff. The one who was actually quite eloquent.
Yeah.
That dude reminds me of Tommy Chung.
He's always smoking.
Now,
Chung.
Now, I have a massive collection of Frankenstein stuff, and that includes thousands of images that I found online. This is one that I especially like because you look at the manner of his dress, you look at the pose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, there he is. Now he's Shelley's monster.
Yeah, definitely.
But unfortunately,
yeah, he'd be a lot more dangerous if he was crafty.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's why I like the Brana one a lot. What it is,
yeah. I'm like, one of the things, of course, I always do is I look for movie posters and that sort of a thing. This is Bruce Timm's version.
Is that Bruce Timm right there?
Of The Bride, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, isn't that beautiful?
I love Bruce Timm.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
he's a boss. Of course, this is an image from the monster from the first film when he meets Maria, the little girl that he drowns in the lake. But to say that this film has captivated the imagination of many is an understatement, because if you do a search for Bride of Frankenstein online and you click the image tab, you are going to see a lot of posters and toys and merchandise, and also
it was the first female monster.
Yeah, very much so. And the thing that astounds me is that she's only on screen for 4 minutes, maybe, if even that, and yet that was enough to solidify her as a horror icon. There's this scene, of course, where they capture the monster and they put him in this dungeon after they're done beating on him. And this is where you start to see like that German expressionist architecture. If you know what I'm talking about, like all like the vaulted ceilings and the sharp angles.
Angle right there.
Yep.
I was just taking a look at. I just put Rick Baker, Frankenstein, in Google and just started going through the images.
I did the same thing with artist Coop, if anybody's familiar with his stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm telling you, that's a rabbit hole I've gone down many a time, and I have like literally thousands of images. Now, I've got a lot of Frankenstein toys. I would say probably I have more Frankenstein stuff than any other character. And one of the things I have in my collection, because I'm not going to show everything off, but one of those little toys that I love is this one right here.
Nice.
Yeah, right from that.
Right. And when you pull on this little lever that's on the back, he goes, "Arr, arr."
Oh, he pulls the stones up. That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I was like, it's like, can I really justify this? I have enough freaking toys, and I was just like, nah.
I'm starting to pick up on a pattern of why you pick the movies you pick.
Yeah, which is
there's a toy somewhere in that room that goes along with the movie, and you're like, I'm going to show off this. I mean, we're going to watch this movie.
It's more a love for the movies that I just happen to have toys.
Yeah, right. Just happen to.
A lot of toys.
So he escapes. He busts out. Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, and we get this scene of the blind man, played by O.P. Heggie. This is a character that's from the original novel, and this isn't a direct scene from that novel, but it kind of takes that chapter and kind of condenses it in a respect.
I think Gene Hackman did it better only because I saw him do it first.
There you go. Well, trust me, when you are a classic Frankenstein, Universal Frankenstein stan like I am, that scene is 100,000 times funnier because it's blasphemous.
Yeah.
It's blasphemous.
Hilarious. It's like the
And
funniest
that's one
scene
of
in
the
the
things.
movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, what I love about that film is that it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah,
oh,
totally.
sure.
You can always tell when somebody's mocking something, and when somebody's like busting balls, but they're doing it from a place of love. It's the same way you mock your enemies, you tease your friends.
Right.
I love Spaceball so much.
Yeah, me
There
too.
you go.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about High Anxiety, and I still think that's his best one.
High Anxiety. Yeah, his Hitchcock homage.
I like Blazing Saddles the best. I don't know if that makes me bad.
No.
Yes.
No, Blazing Saddle's great.
Yeah,
Blazing
that's a good
I
Saddles
one.
think it. Somebody
Blazing
has to
Saddles is
say
awesome.
it. Somebody has to say it, Jeff. I do think it makes you look bad.
I like History of the World. That's my favorite.
Oh,
I've never made it through that one.
History of the World's pretty goddamn great.
I gotta get through that one.
It has
No,
its moments.
everyone's fine. Jeff is fine too.
I keep I never made it through History of the World. As soon as she drops her dress, I'm like, what?
Okay, sorry.
The sounds the things are making is
Those little squeaky sounds, yeah.
they just pantomime to each other.
Yeah. And they just do these like squeaky little jabbering sounds. Whale wasn't really interested in doing a sequel, and the way that they wanted him badly because Frankenstein was such an incredible, no pun intended, monstrous hit. One of my favorite stories about the premiere of Frankenstein in 1932 was that Whale was in his hotel room, and the phone rang at 3:00 in the morning, and it was a critic who had screened the film earlier, and he said, "Look, man, I can't. If I'm not getting to sleep tonight, you're not getting to sleep tonight."
Right.
Now, I mean, can you imagine like a better compliment than that?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
thanks
awesome,
for
man.
scaring the living shit out of me, dude.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it is. I don't know if you saw my message in the group earlier, but I got through a little bit of it, and then I had to go to bed. And then when I tried to bring it up on Tubi, it was gone.
which one?
This movie, I was trying to finish it. So whoever was watching it this week, like Jeff, I think they pulled it the day after he finished it.
This is
because
why
I went to finish, and I was like, all I could find was like The Bride and something else, and I was like, well, what happened?
I might need to go in there and watch Frankenstein tonight before they yank the car lock.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I pounced on this so fast. When I saw that they had this, I was like, boom.
I don't think they don't really tell you when it's going to go.
Absolutely.
Nah, not really.
So let's take a look at this scene. I'll be honest. I will not watch this movie with a woman. Girlfriends know. All my girlfriends have known that, like, this is my favorite movie. And they're like, oh, you got all this Bride of Frankenstein stuff. Let's watch it together. I'm like, nope. Why not? Because I'm going to cry like a little bitch. That's why. And one of the rules in a relationship is never cry in front of a woman. Okay?
I think it depends on what it's.
That shit.
Yeah.
They'll tell you that they do, but if they see it, they're going to be like, oh, this guy's weak.
No is yes.
Well, it's womanese. It's womanese.
Yeah, right.
Don't fall for that shit, guys. Don't fall for it. They don't want us. They don't believe that they want what they tell you they want. They don't know what they want.
Nope, they don't want to know your problems either.
And now
That's the first thing my mom told me.
Yeah.
Well.
There you go. Oh man, that's good advice.
I know, right?
Yeah, it is. Wish my mom had told me that shit.
Remember, this is bread.
So what makes this scene so touching is that for the first time, the monster is being shown some kind of tenderness and compassion. And we see suddenly that he's not the dumb brute that we thought that he was in the first film, right? Because we just assumed that he had brain damage because of the damaged brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That Fritz got. And immediately in the first film, you see what happens. His mind is encoded with violence because Fritz is always torturing him, and specifically with fire because he knows he's afraid of fire. And there's that scene where he's like sticking the torch in his face, And then also, I forget. No, he doesn't have a whip in that. I'm getting that from another film. But that's why he ultimately wrings fucking Fritz's neck and fucking strings him up in that cell, is because he goes from from fright to flight. He goes from flight to fight is what I'm saying, right? Because he can't fly because he's just there. He's chained up in a room. And so he wrings Fritz's neck, and that's how he becomes violent. Here, we get to see maybe the person that he would be if he was actually treated with kindness.
Bread.
Bread.
And this is wine to drink.
Well, they booted us off Facebook.
What'd you say, Pops?
They booted us off Facebook, all 3 channels.
No shit. Well, fuck them.
All 3.
Now watch what he drinks here. I've just always found this to be a scene that is, and this is a thing that you can only get in horror films. You can't get a feeling like this from any other genre. And that is a sense of horror and pathos at the exact same time.
Good. We are friends.
Well, watch what he, like what he does here, where
Try
he's
to hold it together, man.
And the wine is pouring down his chin.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, friends. Good. And now for a smoke.
This always reminds me of Mongo.
No.
Like abnormal brain. Do not use.
Smoke. You try.
Smoke.
Oh.
Smoking his first fatty.
Yeah, but also Player Bad. Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Dank. Dank weed. Oh, great. Stream is down.
They pulled you off YouTube too.
Did they?
I think that's what Pops was trying to say.
Oh,
I was
okay.
trying to say, they see you now. You're playing too much of it.
Yeah, you got to put it on pause every couple.
But
that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed, which I thought was kind of funny, it's like a plot hole, but it's also like the constraints of the set, I guess.
Yeah.
The old guy was thanking God that he saw fit to bring him a friend. And I'm like, but they were gypsies 50 yards away. I'm like, right over there.
That didn't mean that they were hanging out with him.
I know, but like, he's like,
gypsies just saw him as an easy mark, the blind guy. We can take all this stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying that he's like, but I'm saying like, the gypsies, they're the dicks.
Right. And, and then there's, this is a religious moment in the film that I think is genuine. It's the one, because you see a whale really kind of mocking religion in many respects, right? Flying in the face of it.
Well, no one is beyond redemption.
They were calling out the hypocrisy of it.
The hypocrisy. Yeah. Then there's the shot of the monster looking almost like he's crucified, like Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's.
Yeah, I saw that right away. Yeah.
It's not. That's not subtle. It's not meant to be. Right.
Yeah, but they're also.
Whale was far too good of a craftsman for that to be. Him like, oh, I'll put in a little symbolism here, and nobody will notice it. It's like, no, it's a direct comparison, and that in and of itself could be seen as blasphemous in many people's eyes.
Right. But not to put too much of a point on it, but he is back from the dead.
Yes, but not like Lazarus.
Well, no, but or
he's a
Christ
walking
himself.
blasphemy. He's a walking blasphemy, is what he is. And then, of course, we see the monster weeping and consoling the old blind man. It's just a really beautiful scene, and then you'll notice the screen goes dark,
except for the cross.
Yep. And I think that's probably the one moment that I think religious moment that comes off as actually sincere. Good. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree more with Karloff, man. I love the fact that the monster talks in this. It adds so much. It gives you an added dimension to the character, and also another way for him to express himself.
We're back.
And the dialogue, thanks, dude. And the dialogue itself is.
You can't have this scene without dialogue.
No.
And it's got a character arc. Grunt, yes. And the guy's gonna know what he's saying.
Because that's the thing. You're watching the scene and you're thinking, "Holy shit!" He's teaching the monster how to speak.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, that's adding humanity to him. He can't be a monster forever because he's not really a monster.
Well, he is a monster, and he always will be a monster. I mean, that's his fate. That's his destiny. There's no unmaking him a monster. That doesn't mean he can't be a good soul and
there you go.
And a kind one, but he's not human, and he'll never be human. He's still, a thing, something that was born neither of man nor woman. And then, of course, we have the scene where the hunters come in. Do you guys recognize the guy on the left by any chance?
He does look familiar. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, wait, on our left, the tall one.
There he is.
Yeah. Shit.
Looks like the guy from The Howling. That old guy in the town.
Ding, 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 ding. That is
from Jeopardy.
No, he's this is John Carradine.
Okay.
Yes, who played Dracula in House of Frankenstein and also in House of Dracula, and probably has the longest entry of any actor on the Internet Movie Database.
Really?
He also performed in a stage production of Frankenstein, playing the blind man. That was in New York City in the 1980s. I want to say 83 or so. Mm-hmm. It bombed. I think it closed down after like a week, because that's just the nature of theater, is that if the reviews are bad, the show just gets shut down. And the monster immediately realizes, oh shit, these guys are here to start trouble.
Yeah, that mouth. The way he's got his jaw gripped, he's like, you can kind of tell.
But there's a new fierce intelligence there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, I've been working. Like,
total
get out of here! I'm working on something. I mean, I'm like, I'm in the middle of something. This is that's you know what I mean. Like, he's not missing. He understands more than he used to.
Yes.
And it's I'm finally getting somewhere, and along comes these people who don't understand what's going on.
Well, that actually looks like, to me, it looks like a face of suspicion. Like the last time I walked outside.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I know that face. I've made that face many a time.
Yeah, that's what I look like. That's what I look like when I'm trying to find the right register at Walmart. Like,
right.
That one looks really short, but I don't want to be behind that person.
Yep. And the blind man, of course, steps right in. Is like, no, you're not fucking with my friend. The old man, can't you see? Are you blind? Right? Can't you see that he's a monster? And that's where he realizes, oh shit, he's blind. And there's that moment where he suddenly realizes they're going to take all this away from me now, aren't they?
It looks like they're using some soft focus right there.
Yes, absolutely. And so everything goes to shit. They attack. The hut gets burned down, and right after that, he's running, and he runs into these children, and they just go running and screaming. And of course, he's doing that pleading gesture with his hands, right? Mm-hmm. Just looking for somebody just to be kind to him. And it's just not going to happen. And then we cut to this scene. It's one of my favorite in all of the Universal monster movies, where he's wandering through this graveyard.
The iconography.
Snarling.
This is what I was talking about earlier about what I liked about this film.
And you can't be a comic book fan and not think, leave Hulk alone. Right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. But, dude, it was the inspiration for Hulk.
Oh, without a doubt. Well.
That and Jekyll and Hyde.
Exactly.
They've always said it, yeah.
Yep. Except instead of Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde, he turns into the Frankenstein monster.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he goes into this tomb and he falls into this coffin and he cracks it open. And inside is the corpse of a beautiful young woman, thankfully not boiling with maggots. And he kind of goes, tries to get her attention, waves his hand over her face and says, "Friend?" And of course, she's completely non-responsive. And
dude, I've been heard it sound like that before.
Oh yeah, me
too, I thought you were going to say that, but he said, "Put it on the Ritz."
Put it on the
Ritz. I'm telling you, man, you got to watch these movies. That movie's a lot funnier when you've watched these.
Oh, I mean, that's what I was going to say before. It's like the first time I watched it, I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it after finding out what he was mentioning, like when you know a bit more of the background of, like, Mary Shelley, how they wrote the goddamn thing, how they met them. Like the intro makes more sense, and then the movie becomes more enjoyable when you know technically the lore.
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if it's a good film, you still don't need to know the lore. That's the thing about Young Frankenstein that I think is so brilliant. I watched that with some millennial friends of mine, and they thought it was hilarious. They loved it.
Yeah,
and they'd never seen any of these films.
Yep. Yeah, but that's the thing, that some people just don't know anything about the lore. They enjoy the corniness of it a little bit, you could say, and the fact that hey, finally a girl monster. You know that there's always that girl thing.
Yes.
That plays as a factor. So first lady monster. So. And
they
didn't make her ugly
representation too. That happened a long time ago.
The work is not going to be done until the lady monsters get to vote.
Right. And
Horatio. I just love this scene where Pretorius has been engaging in a little casual grave violation. And is down in the tomb, and he's just having a smoke and a drink, and some bones piled up, and candles lit, and is just having a jolly old good time. And the monster shows up, and when he sees the monster approaching, he doesn't get scared. And the monster, does the pleading gesture with his hand, says, "Friend." Smoke, and Pretorius says, "Oh well, I certainly hope so." And he offers him a cigar and says, "It's my only weakness." Remember before with the gin, he said, "A little gin. It's my only weakness."
At the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a man of many vices. Clearly, smoke. Friend? Yes, I hope so. Yeah, they're my only weakness.
Liar.
You make man like me, woman like you.
Here?
Oh yeah, then of course, one of the most classic lines from this film: "I love dead, hate living. You're wise in your generation." So you have like this heartbreaking.
That sounds like Timmy Bateman. I think he says, "No, Dad, keep living." In Pet Sematary, when the first one, they come to burn the house down. Timmy Bateman got buried up in the Micmac burial ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Where's Timmy, Lassie?
What'd you say?
I said, "What, Lassie? Where's Timmy?"
Yeah.
But I just, I find this, hear him say that, it's heartbreaking, and then you get this funny line. It's Whale is just playing with your emotions in this film in just in a really, really clever and masterful way, I think.
Yeah, and it's also trying to say the newer generation, they're dumbasses.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And so now Pretorius has a friend, and now he's got his leverage. The monster grabs Elizabeth, and they are go. And then, of course, we get this this scene, which is one of the most famous scenes in one of the most famous. Well, you okay over there, Pops?
Yeah.
It seemed like that was. I mean, he said almost the exact same thing in the other movie, didn't he? I'm assuming.
Yes. It's a reference. Yeah.
Okay.
It's alive. Yeah. And the Tesla coils here, all this equipment that you see, that equipment was preserved and it was used in many films afterwards. The reason they hung on to it was to recycle it for later horror films.
Brilliant.
But then they took good care of it, and it ended up, I think, being used in Young Frankenstein and also in Gods and Monsters. They didn't recreate the equipment; they used the original equipment.
Saved it. Yeah.
What if they still got it? I want to use it.
A lot of them movies before all the CGI stuff, like, they all reuse the same backgrounds. You would recognize them all the time. Like there's one building, I forget the name, but it was reused for the first time in a way that nobody recognized in a Blade Runner. But it's one of the most iconic freaking building that people are using, with the elevator shot within the building. I forgot the name of it, but it's an almost every
hotel.
Yeah, that's it. It's freaking used a whole bunch of time. But
the Millennium Falcon was one of the buildings in Blade Runner. The very first Falcon, with the huge one. They made a smaller one for Empire Strikes Back, but the first one they found in a dumpster.
Oh, that's
and used
crazy.
It. Yeah. On the prop reusage thing, there's a YouTube thing I remember. It's called The Most Important Device in the Universe, Blinking Tubes Without Function. And it's just a compilation of all the different places you see this one prop. It's reminded me when you guys were talking about like preserving things.
Yeah. I don't know if if any of you have seen The Man with Two Brains.
Yeah, Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. I love when he refers to this device as that bzzz thing.
Yeah, man, that movie's funny.
Yeah, it is. And
didn't Campbell do another version of that movie, The Man with Two Brains, too?
No, I think it was.
Was that
what
the
the hell
woman's
was the
brain?
name of that? It was a similar title, but it wasn't the same thing.
Continue. I'm gonna figure it out.
What? All of Me?
No, that's a body swap movie.
Yeah.
With
Lily Tomlin, right?
Book burn.
Bucket Bull.
Bitch.
Bucket Bull.
It was Men with the Screaming Brain. Sorry.
There it is. And fuck it. If I get jacked again, I don't give a fuck. I give zero.
What is the time on it? Is it 30 seconds or?
It's not like you're monetized.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So let's just take a look at this.
Go about 20 seconds at a time, B.
Okay. Now you guys know, like, this is probably like, I mean, this is top, not top 5 for me. This is like top 2 or 3, right?
Oh shit.
And I got to see this in a movie theater in my area that was an old movie theater that had been restored. They spent $2 million on this thing, restoring it, and they had a silver screen, right? You normally don't get silver screens; you get white screens now, right?
Right.
The reason why they used to have silver screens was because most of the films were all of the films at one point were in black and white, and when you project a black and white movie onto a silver screen, you get a special something. You get a special luminescence that you don't.
The whites are going to be extra white.
Yes, it's a different experience, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And that was one of my great thrills in movie going was seeing this in a beautiful a palace-like theater. You notice the movements there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? How they're very sort of
uncomfortable. I remember
insect-like
Jeff Bridges when Jeff Bridges was kind of researching what he was going to do with Starman.
He's moving like a praying mantis.
He was saying he studied birds. Birds move the same way, and they have that sudden that he wanted to look like the alien was uncomfortable,
right,
wearing this skin suit,
right, and that's
what she looks like,
and that is an incredible performance, and he got robbed. He deserved an Oscar for that one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a great John Carpenter movie. That's top shelf.
Tearjerker, love the score.
Yep. Here we go.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Ugh, Christ. Yeah, no, it gives me.
It just reminds me of being in Votech and next to the cosmetology class, and just like knowing that like in order to pass a state board, you have to learn, and you have to like doing finger waves is a thing you have to know how to do.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just wondering, like, what was it like for the person who was doing the hair and the makeup? Were they tearing their hair out, or what?
Jack Pierce was the makeup artist, and he was known to be a bit of a pill. Not a nice guy, although he got along well with Karloff, but that's because Karloff got along with everybody. He was just one of those dudes. I don't know if he did the hair, but he certainly did the makeup, the scars on her chin. Now, remember here, too, her body is made from corpses rifled from graves, right? But her brain isn't human. It's synthetic.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Homunculi.
Positronic nervous system.
Right. So it's like Frankenstein created the body, Pretorius created the brain.
So she's a sex robot.
You might say that, but things don't exactly go as planned, do they? And once again, she's on screen for less than 5 minutes and leaves such an indelible impact on the psyche that she's one of the true icons of horror cinema. Isn't that fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
You can see how carefully staged this is. And she's doing that, like, where am I?
Yeah.
Why am I?
And then she hears the monster's voice. And this is a moment that always chills me to the core.
I was expecting to hear animal. Woman! Woman!
Now you see the I was mentioning before how these are basically American versions of German horror films.
Mm-hmm.
You see the set there? You see those sharp angles and everything?
Yeah. Triangles.
They never built castles that looked like this.
Nah.
This is a fantasy castle.
Yep.
Friend? Friend?
Come on, take her by the arm, brother. Bust a move.
Why? You didn't ask for consent? Is that the problem?
Yeah. He's like, oh shit, I'm gonna get me too'd.
You forgot to sign the consent papers before you press on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Stand back! Stand back!
I think a lot of chicks were checking this her whole get up out in the 80s. She seems to be suffering from big hair and shoulder pad buildup.
Okay, can we also say that she's not just the first female monster, but she's also the first on screen?
Oh.
Yeah.
So making her the first Karen? Okay, I'm done.
It's her behavior is so odd, right? Because it's all twitchy like an insect or like a bird. And
I see like a praying mantis. If you've seen any praying mantis, they always.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh hey, what's up, Aiden Hell? My dog reacted to that scream. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, everybody that's chilling in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for being here. We really do appreciate you. And of course, he's being very tender and gentle.
He's gonna get friend zone doing that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He has no game whatsoever.
Yeah, you didn't learn his lesson from Sean Connery.
No, he really didn't. And just the look of horror.
Let me pull this finger off and put a ring on it.
Right.
Give it back to the doctor. Here. Do something with that.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it.
You hate me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
A tale as old as time.
Yep. Now, obviously, this movie's very special to me. If you guys don't like it, that's cool. I'm not gonna judge you harshly. I'm not the kind of guy that gets down on people because they don't like the same stuff that I'm into. How did you all react to this? Was this your first time seeing it? Was this a film that you were revisiting? I'm just curious, just to think, just to hear what your thoughts are.
Movie sucks. I don't know why you made us watch this piece of shit.
I keep waiting for
First
that.
question,
too.
I'm like, what the hell did we do to that guy? Okay.
Well, that's normally what I think whenever you put these out is I'm not watching it expecting to like it or dislike it. I'm watching it trying to learn something, and if I appreciated something along the way, then great. This one, I mean, it glitched on me. I only got to see the first 2/3, so I don't know where she came from. Somewhere in the middle of the movie, that chick died. It was one of the.
No, she's just fresh from the ground.
Okay.
Out of the ground like a vegetable.
Yeah, like Pretorius is presumably, let's see, her bones are right there to the left of.
I didn't put that together. I thought that he was just having some sort of morbid fun with some stuff that he found. I thought that the girl was the one that Frankenstein found, which kind of confused me. I'm like, why do you have to actually sew things together? There's a girl right there. She's all in one piece. Just use her. Put the heart in her. Put the brain in her. Isn't that just? I mean,
well, we don't get to see any of that, unfortunately.
Well, right. So that's who I thought it was. I didn't know that it was that she had already been he had already collected other pieces. We had Kiss dolls that were like 11.5 inches, Yeah. And we had a Batman doll.
Just turn around, Brian. You probably have one in there.
Yeah.
No, I don't have the Kiss dolls. You know why I didn't buy the Kiss dolls? Because they didn't come with instruments.
I was gonna say, it's quite simple. The answer lies in the middle somewhere. So I'm guessing they said they stitched her up, but they used the cadaver.
Yeah. So we had these dolls that we were trying to do this surgery with this other Batman doll, and we spent all this time cutting the rubber bands and trying to get in there with tweezers and
I do that shit too.
My sister came in and goes, "Why didn't you just trade the heads?" And we're like, "Shut up!" It was like the perfect answer. Just trade the heads. That's what I would thought. I was like, "Why do you have all these bones? Just use the body that's over there."
Right. I mean, I would do even weirder shit. I would give my Mr. Spock doll perfume baths.
Okay. Well,
I try and process that. I just remember being in this store. It's on 2nd Avenue. I mean, it's probably not there anymore. But I remember in the 90s on 2nd Avenue and about between 7th and 8th, was a place called Love Saves the Day. And you'd go in there, and it was a place that sold old toys. And so I was there with a friend, and we were looking at the Star Trek Mego figures. I was like, oh man, I used to give my Mr. Spock doll perfume baths. And this chick that worked there was like, whoa. You used to give your Mr. Spock perfume baths? I was like, yeah. Why? I was like, I don't know. It seemed like the smart thing to do at the time when I was like 6 years old or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did you find the Spock doll to begin with?
Oh well, I mean, I had the Spock dolls. I had God.
It wasn't like you didn't find it in some garage sale in somebody's like moldy basement, and he just
no. I was not always good at taking care of my toys. Let's just put it that way.
Me neither.
I fucked a lot of them up that I wish I still had that I unfortunately don't.
Yeah,
of course, the ones that I played with the least are the ones that survived.
Oh, talking about toys, remember on the last stream, I mentioned that there was a toy I was looking for.
Yeah.
The Vincent and Bob.
Huh?
Well, they're on their way.
Nice.
Oh, no way.
Oh shit! Where did you find that?
They made a newer model, so I ordered them. They're 7-inch.
Yeah, the new shit.
They're on Amazon. Yeah.
Aren't they cool?
Shit. I need another Starbird.
So I'm finally getting it again. It's not exactly the same, but it's a better version. But I'm getting both of them. Both for like, okay, it was $35.99 US, but with import and shipping and shit like that, because I'm in Canada, came up to like 58 plus imports. So it cost me $61
for both.
Yeah, for both of them.
Okay.
It's not bad.
They'll be here on the 30th, so I'm pretty fucking stoked
cool.
about it.
Yeah. I had a maroon and silver Mercury Villager that boy, I tell you what, the way that the people put this van together, I had to do structural work to the strut tower and all kinds of body work stuff like this piece of crap, and decided one day to sit down and paint Bob on the back. Because the same color, silver, red, you know what I mean? And normally I don't spend that kind of time dedicating. It was basically like, like this is really, it took me about like maybe an hour and a half. I was like, screw this van the whole time, hating on this van.
That's the reason why Bob is named Bob and not the Merc. There's two reasons. Like I was inspired by Scud, the disposable assassin, whatever it is. And Bob in that thing. So I kind of put it all together, and that's why he's gray. But instead of being red, he has blue. He has the blue stripes in his face. But that's why the name Bob is Bob. He's an old robot, and I'm like, I'm gonna name him Bob.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. I'm glad.
And
also
thought of the old thing of Budweiser, which was the bottle opens bottle. If you remember, they called him Bob.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
vaguely.
I think I remember that.
Is that the picture you have in your bathroom?
No, that's not the picture I have in my bathroom, but it is very similar, and I just absolutely love that.
That's what you picture every time you look at it. She's getting ready for that picture.
Yep,
it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the whole thing, I was looking for. I think that my view of it was less. It was less of a serious viewing and more. I don't want to say like I wanted to compare it to like as soon as I saw that dude in the beginning acting and rolling his R's and everything, I'm like, this is gonna be interesting, but also I feel like an asshole coming across like this, but
that's okay.
I'm like we could not like we could do so much better now. I don't appreciate it for the movie that it was, like you do. Of course, like you said, you know a lot more about it than I do, but I kept looking at the whole. Well, the gypsies are right over there. He's got friends right next door, or that lady. I can't remember the name of the lady actor who was like the cranky, naggy at the beginning.
Una O'Connor.
Yeah, and like when she like freaks out and leaves, I'm like, okay. That was weird when she screams because he's awake, and the fact that he's actually not dead and they thought he was and they didn't check for a pulse, and I'm like all the plot holes. So I looked at it more of like
curiosity.
more. This is the asshole part I'm talking about.
No, it doesn't make you, dude. It doesn't make you an asshole. Here's the thing:
these silly people made this movie, and only put this much thought into it. I hate.
May I remember watching it? Like you say that you sound like an asshole. Yeah, I'm like, when I first watched it, I thought it was a horror version of a chick flick.
Oh,
I remember the first type of like reaction I had to it was like it's dozed down horror, like the drama, it's all toned down. It's a bit comedic, but it's not comedy. So it's not a parody, but it's very toned down to be like either child friendly, like children friendly more, or like I said, chick flick. I remember as young I went like, oh, that's a chick flick horror movie. It's not I didn't like it. It's just it's not a horror movie per se.
Yeah,
but it is horror theme.
It's more, It as Matt was saying, it feels more like a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the nostalgia part. I mean, I liked all like
it's like the Princess Bride of horror.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. It's almost like the horror doesn't necessarily presuppose fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think
like it's classified as horror, but you don't have to be scared. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you can do it by that, definition. You can just fill something with a bunch of jump scares.
Yeah, but it gets away with it because it's a sci-fi horror.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The original is a sci-fi horror, and that's a sci-fi horror. So just the idea of having people living that you bring back to life from electricity, and remember that was created when electricity was still mesmerizing to people, and people were afraid of it.
Yes.
So that's one of the first things that people were thriving on, the fear of electricity. That's the entire premise of why it came. Like lightning bolt were still a fucking mystery to them and killing people. So it was a giant monster. So we're gonna harness that and bring somebody to life, make it hit a monster, and just that idea. It's horror. It's horror. So that you turn it into Young Frankenstein. It's still a horror themed movie, but it's a comedy. It's clearly a fucking comedy.
Right, because you're talking about technology here,
but it gets away with it better. It gets away with it better. It's like the same reason why Evil Dead gets away with what it did, is because it's the supernatural aspect, crazy aspect to it that makes it gets away from being the funny aspect.
Nobody can say that it couldn't possibly happen.
Exactly, and know that. Everyday life, something would happen like that. There'd be a few corny fucking thing that'd be there. Like you'd have one of your friends that's not always the brightest, finding out he has an eye in his fucking hand. He'd probably try to cut the hand off without even trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah,
right.
Which would make it funny in retrospect, not on the fucking moment, but that if you'd be the one watching, you're watching this like, hey, look at those ants. He's just cut his fucking arm off. He could have done this.
If we showed this movie. If we showed one of the newer versions of like the Kenneth Branagh movie, or like that's the one with Robert De Niro, right?
Right.
Nope.
Or there's another one. I think there's like a few different versions, like the modern ones. If we showed this to them back then, they probably would go, "You're missing the point."
There's one that I like was in Van Helsing.
Oh, I like that monster design too.
The take that they had of Frankenstein in there.
Yeah. Not the movie, just the character design.
I enjoyed the movie, but I really liked the character of Frankenstein in there. Like good it design. Was really on point. Like
I love that.
I liked it. The design was cool too.
Yeah.
I think there was a Wolfman design in there that was kind of rocking. I thought.
The wolf design was cool. Like
three wolves.
I even like the Dracula that looks like it's freaking what's his name again? Damn, Ozzy Osbourne. He looked like Ozzy Osbourne. And I like the entire premise. Like Jekyll and Hyde was fucking great in there. It's just like
Notre Dame.
In an aspect, like I understand why people didn't like it. Like I would have expected it to be more serious, darker, tone, theme, but the more goofy, superhero comic type of thing. It's like enjoyable.
Extraordinary Gentleman or something.
Yes, like that's another one I liked a lot.
Could have been even better.
Yeah, I like the one.
I keep coming back to that for some reason, and I know it always gets bad.
Me, I really like Hollow Man.
You like
Hollow Man?
I'm sorry.
Hollow Man.
Hollow Man was great.
I thought it was a fucking great take on fucking Invisible Man.
Yes, it's certainly a lot better than the Invisible Man remake that we just got a couple years ago, which doesn't even have an Invisible Man in it.
When you think about the layers that they had to use to like constructing that character was so so RAM and memory intensive because there was like layers and layers and layers that they had to like go through. Like all that back then, maybe not so much today, but that was an achievement in CG.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And I'm not as much as I diss CGI all the time. It doesn't mean I'm anti CGI.
Mhm.
It's just technology, right?
Yeah.
It's
And in the wrong hands.
Exactly. Well, right. You might create a works of beauty, or you might create a monster, or you might create like a completely boring piece of trash, like every.
They're everywhere. I know.
They're everywhere. They're
Like,
everywhere.
you just spun a big wheel of fortune.
There's another thing I want to mention because she's rocking that white mesh there. And I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure that was all the elder lady
Look at the
girls
size
were rocking it.
That's a girl
back then.
No, I like what she's got on her forearms, like the bandages and stuff like that. That's great for like my character's got the same thing. It's got.
Oh, I would just love to just
like stirrups.
I'm talking about we kind of hang out, have a nice dinner. We're hanging out on the couch, and just start unwrapping, start unraveling.
As long as she doesn't scream at you halfway.
As long as she doesn't scream at me, no. It's got to be, she's got to be into it, But I mean, I'm a treater like Barry White. That's what I'm saying. I put on the Barry White and light the scented candles, and massage, give her a foot massage. This is a really interesting picture right here. On the left, we have James Whale, who, by the way, designed the original design of the monster.
Oh yeah.
Yes, in a sketch. He wasn't much of a artist himself. I'm not sure who did this painting, but this is a concept drawing. Oh, not a concept drawing. This is a concept painting for how the monster would look in the film. Because of course he's just survived a fire, so that's why he has the scorched eyebrows and the hair, and his suit's a little toe up. But
did Karloff do the makeup himself? Is that apocryphal? Okay,
that was Jack Pierce. Pierce. And when Jack Pierce did those makeups, he considered himself very much the creator of those characters. That is to say, like a shaman or a magician or a sorcerer, he was kind of like bringing these characters to life. You're going to spend a lot of time sitting in that makeup chair, whether it was back then or now. You're going to be in that chair for fucking 3 hours.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, nowadays it takes 4 just to get a life cast.
Yeah. I mean, this poster, oh my God, this is
I remember this from somewhere. Where did I see this?
You may have seen this in, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting my posters.
I was going to say the first Ginger side. God damn it.
God, there's a poster that's very similar to this, except it's for the first film. And it is gigantic, and it is hanging in Midtown Comics in New York City, and at an estimated value, I think, of $1 million.
Damn.
Well, don't let anybody in with potatoes or tomato juice.
Yeah, I mean, God damn, man. What is it with SJWs and art vandalism? They love to vandalize.
I don't know. I just thought it was funny where they're like, the world is starving, and here I'm just going to throw food at a painting instead of feeding somebody with it.
I wish they would glue themselves to something so they could do. I'm sorry.
They have no respect for anything that came before them.
No.
Why do you wonder? They've never been taught to respect what came before. Or the elders. So, hey,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at how easy it is for me to derail this whole panel. I just say one. I throw out one little politically questionable thing, and there's like, yeah, man.
It's easier to change history when you erase it.
And it wasn't me.
Yeah, everybody.
You're usually the guy.
Okay. Hey, it's a dog. I got bit by one of those a little while ago.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh, yay!
This has been here. This has been here for a couple of like a week. And that's from playing. That's from playing with him.
Sue snuck up on me earlier when I was eating.
Right.
It bit my arm. Bang, got right up in the funny bone spot of your elbow.
Mm-hmm.
My elbow's been ringing ever since. He didn't break the skin, but it hurt when it.
I know.
It
I
bit.
know.
Oh, I mean, because it was right on the funny bone, man. You know, it hurt.
You got
It's still ringing. It's still buzzing. It's like numb.
Yeah.
It's weird. You know, when you get your funny bone, but it's like something really sharp got you there.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant sensation for sure.
No, it hurts, dude. It still hurts.
Yes, I was surprised.
Yeah, we hear that. Yeah, here of course is an awesome shot of Karloff taking a little break, and since there were a lot of English people in the cast, they would break for tea.
Yeah,
every afternoon.
Cameron couldn't stand that during Aliens.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because that was shot in England. So was, of course, the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
That's a great little publicity shot right there. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
If it's Earl Grey, I agree.
What did everybody else think of the
Earl
movie?
Yeah, seriously, speak up. And folks in the chat, let us know what you thought of Bride of Frankenstein if you've seen it.
What?
Somebody? I mean,
whose turn? Yeah, go to. I already said stuff.
Yeah,
I said stuff in
Matt. Your overall impression of Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh well, it's just it's great, man. Two Horns Way Up. It's like I said earlier, it's a classic. You got to kind of watch it. There's a lot of things that they're breaking new ground on when they're creating this movie, and yeah, man, it's awesome. I loved it. But like I said, I love the first one a little more. But I like to see Frankenstein's monsters arc in here.
Oh, you need to check out Son of Frankenstein too. It's not as good as this, I think, but it's still really excellent.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I'll check it out.
He's going for your carotid arteries, going for your jugular vein. Oh, smooch the pooch.
You gotta do this crap, don't you?
Yeah. He's just loving on you, dude. He's loving on you,
boy. Goofball, go away.
This smoochy pooch.
God damn, man.
Cute as my kryptonite, man. Cute as my kryptonite. I will stop the stream dead if I see like a tail going like by behind somebody. I'm like, okay, show some critter.
Dickhead. That's what that dog is. Man.
Yes, I have one of those too.
These two,
Big
I told them
dickhead.
I'm not going to walk them anymore.
Biggest dickus.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, this is an actual poster from the release of the film. Which is surprisingly, I don't know.
Starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
Right?
Misleading.
Somewhat.
Yeah, that's how you like bring your girlfriend. Like, there's absolutely no dancing.
Would you like to hear my opinion of the movie, Brian?
Yes, of course. I mean, we're getting to you too, bro.
Well, it's kind of the same as all my opinions of horror movies. I told you when I was young, we went and to conquer the fear, we giggled and we laughed and we cracked jokes.
Right.
And this was much funnier this time than it was the first time. I'm just saying.
Well, there's a lot of humor in this one, isn't there?
Well, yeah. And look, you guys kind of approach these like, you're kind of reviewing or dissecting, and I'm trying to relive whatever magic I got the first time.
I fully admit I am.
I do the same thing.
I'm going at it pinky out. Because I want to, I want to see if there's, I want to know what it is about it that I'm supposed to like because somebody else likes it, but then at the same, like, that's cool.
See, I'm trying to remember what my reaction was then when I saw it that first time. Do I still feel the same way about it now than I did then? Is it funnier? Because to me, it's really about humor. Everything I watch, I'm trying to find the humor in it. I don't care if it's WWE. Doesn't matter what I'm watching. I'm trying to find something to laugh about. If he swings the dude,
you should have seen that debate.
If he swings the dude, misses by a foot, and the dude flies backwards like he got whacked. It's the Three Stooges. That slapstick comedy, but I call it the 60 Stooges because there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh my God, yeah. There's Curly Joe, there's Curly Joe Dorita.
Yeah.
Curly Joe and Curly Joe Dorita are the same guy, right? And then there's Joe and Mama Besser. Joe Mama Besser. And a lot of people don't realize that Curly wasn't the original third stooge. He was the second. Shemp was actually the original third stooge.
Really?
Yeah. Talk about an upgrade, huh? But then again, nobody could ever beat Curly. Curly was the shit. And he had trouble talking to women because he always had that ridiculous haircut.
Oh yeah, the monkey.
Larry?
No, Curly. He was very shy with women because
Curly was bald.
No, he wasn't bald. He just shaved his head.
Okay.
Right.
I never saw him with hair.
Well,
so like it just made it
like Peach Fuzz and yeah. Maiden Hell says I saw it ages ago. I love old horror films and C-grade hokey films. Okay. I used to like. Oh yeah, she says I used to watch the Three Stooges with Dad. Yeah. Wow. That's another. There's an interesting gender gap too with the Three Stooges. I mean, there are some chicks that like the Three Stooges, but it's mostly a guy thing.
Was it Renee? Did Renee Russo played that character in Lethal Weapon 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the cool, charming things about her is that she liked the Three Stooges just as much as Riggs did.
Right, and that's when he realizes, oh, we just made a love connection.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, naturally, of course. I mean, there are even certain things like that I'll test women on, and they don't realize they're being tested, but they are being tested.
Oh, they're always being tested.
Yeah, and sometimes
due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. And then it does involve showing them certain films for sure. Although, like I said, this is one I would never watch with a woman for sure because it gets me too emotional. And
first thing is, it's made for it.
What was that?
It's made for you to watch with your chick. It's like it's like the perfect movie to take a date on if you're a horror fan. But you don't because you don't want to look. You don't want.
Brian's going to have to hear. Brian's going to have to hear a girl say, "I can't watch Bride of Frankenstein with you because it makes me cry."
Yes.
And that's when he'll know.
This movie gets me very emotional. Yeah.
But what if she says me too?
And that's why.
No, that's what I mean. She'll be the one that actually says it first, and then he'll know.
Right. There you go. And that's also why I was interested. I'm interested in getting your guys' opinion because I can't speak objectively about a movie like this because I have a special relationship with it. I've had a very special relationship with this film since I was a child. And so that's why I'm always so curious to see what new eyes make of it.
Given the time difference between something like Terrifier and this is a much more professional movie.
Oh yeah,
and even the time, even
production.
Yeah, even given the difference in time between this and a Hammer film. And maybe it's just because it's back then and it's black and white and you really can't tell about budget and adjusting for inflation and whatever. But this is a more solid story. It was more solid acting, and that's that the core thing about a movie like this is what everybody's missing whenever they try to redo it because they're not trying to upgrade and that's it. And upgrade of like a facelift. And it's the thing about a facelift is you can always tell when it's a facelift and it comes off as fake.
Yes. And this is a story I've told quite a few times, so forgive me anybody if you've heard this before. I was in a Facebook group that was horror related and I very quickly realized this was not the group for me. Because these people were not into classic horror. Not only were they not into classic horror, all they were into was like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth. And all they would watch were remakes. And this is like when there was, all of the horror movies that were coming out were remakes at that time. You all remember the remake boom, right?
And it's still happening. I mean, there's no original ideas.
I'm talking about that specific era. I'm talking about that specific era of like the Michael Bay remakes.
Oh, the Bay, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to peace out of this group. But before I do, I genuinely want to know. I'm not asking this to be a dick. I genuinely just want to know, why do you folks watch the remakes instead of the originals? You don't even go back and watch the original first, or after watching it, you just watch the remake. And they all gave me the same answer. Well, because it's the same thing but better.
Yep.
How do you know?
Not really.
You can't know that.
But
They go back and watch it.
But you
They
can.
go with the idea
new.
that there's better special effects, better quality, more money put into it. To them, to a lot of people, it's like being art blind.
Yeah, there you go.
For some people,
like so many things in life, I always find that car.
That's why Marvel's surviving so much.
Yeah, well, they're surviving. They're not surviving on having good taste. They're surviving on everybody else's lack of taste.
I remember Preston, like first time I heard the term art blind was from Preston.
Yeah, right.
And he said, like, man, one of the things I love about working with you is you're not art blind. I'm like, what does that even mean? And he explained it to me, that, there's certain people that he'd worked with that just, I don't know, didn't have an eye for art. I've loved it all my life, of course.
I sometimes wonder if I don't have an eye for art.
To dumb it down, it's like, you could do a stick figure and an actual shape, well-drawn shape next to it, and it's the same thing for them.
Yeah,
it's a bit dramatized, but it
that's an extreme
well, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about the
they
movement, the movement behind a glyph, or like the movement behind the underdrawing and the bones of what you're about to elaborate, like.
No, it's
the
more
layout,
the
layout pictures that that you're going to be able to build something on top of. The movement is there in that.
No,
figure.
It's simpler. No, it's even worse than that, guy. You're trying. It's the thing of this. So there's a lot of people that go, "Oh, I can't do that, so that's good."
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
the only
that's the simplest way of turning it down. If it's better than they can do,
right?
It's amazing. It's great.
Well, you've been spending too much time on Twitter. Yeah, it's there.
When you do art, first thing they tell you is do not value your worth, or do not ask your family members to tell you how good you are.
Right.
Right. Maidenhell says, they might be fighting words there, dude. I think she's referring to, like, when I said that chicks don't like the Three Stooges. Mind you, when I say something like that, it's a generalization.
Yeah, it's like having the ability to hear.
Speaking.
She said it's like having the ability to hear all the parts of a song as opposed to just hearing a song. I think the only, as far as like watching a remake because it's the same, only better, that only holds up and actually doesn't hold up when it's a shot-for-shot remake like Psycho, because it's the lines are the same, the shots are the same, so it's just like it, only better. Debatably, it's not better. Everything else, if you're changing the lines and you're changing the action, you're changing the camera shots, it's not the same. It's different.
Right.
That's just it. It has to be your own interpretation, like a cover song. Or even better, like I find so many analogies that work best in life usually have to do with cars because they reflect us so much. Right. What car would you have more appreciation for? One of these new Challengers or a 1970 440 RT?
1970.
Yeah.
Fuck these new Challengers. I fucking hate them. I hate all the American muscle cars out here driving down the freeway. Everybody thinks they're fucking Vin Diesel out here. Oh my god,
I can't stand.
I can't stand these motherfuckers. But
they don't look as bad as most cars, but they're not what you think it is.
No, they look cool, dude. It's just God. Everybody's got one, but man, definitely the American muscle from the 70s and 60s.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like you can do reprints, but it's not the right thing. It's just like any of these Miko reproductions or the G.I. Joe reproductions. They're just reproductions. You can't sell them for what they would be worth if they were for real.
And not every movie can be The Fly or The Thing.
That's true.
Simple as that.
No, in fact, that's like I was saying with the cover songs. I think that, and I know this is a real reach because we're talking about Queen here, but I think that Lynch Mob's version of Tie Your Mother Down is way better than the original, and mostly because it's just the way that like the way the solos work out and everything's working together, and it's got more bang, and it's not a reproduction. It's not even a reinterpretation. It's just how, if I was doing this is how I would do it, and making it sound like, George Lynch playing the guitars. That's okay. You know what you're gonna get. But like the what you were saying before, and it's escaping me exactly how you put it. We went from muscle cars to something else.
Yeah, I agree with you on the covers. Like for me, I'm always going to be metal leaning. So if someone covers, Phil Collins' Land of Confusion, I'm going to like Disturbed's version, or In Flames. I'm going to go with the In Flames one because it has more of a melodic thrash feel to it.
Yeah, even something like Dancing in the Streets from Van Halen. It's just got it's groovier.
Yeah, and what else did they do? Pretty Woman. I thought that was, and I love Roy Orbison, but I like Van Halen's more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and that's the thing. You wouldn't expect that sound to apply to a classic like that.
Yeah.
But they somehow they made it work, and it felt natural. When what is a good movie remake that's really it's like versus the original that you actually like?
The Fly and the Thing. Those are the only
exactly. The Fly and the Thing.
I can't say whether I like the old one or not because I'm guilty of not ever having. Oh, I saw the first Fly, The Fly, but I never saw The Thing from Outer Space. I think it is.
Yeah.
Fingers.
Yeah. And we had like a science fiction elective in high school. We watched it, and the one thing that I found, and Matt, if you saw, or anybody who actually saw it. One of the things that I really liked about The Thing was that even though you didn't see all the characters for very long, that they were each of them so unique in their personality, the way they talk to each other. Because after a while, it doesn't take too long before guys start getting knocked off. And it was one of those things where you did not get the feel that the people were in the movie simply to be killed. So it didn't feel like a slasher.
No, you cared for them, and he built up, I think, little subtle nuances within those characters.
Like even little stuff like that, like when Knowles says, "Hey, no problem, man, I'll take you up to in the helicopter." The guy's like, "Hell no!" He goes, "Well, thanks for thinking about it, though." I use that all the time. That's like part of my normal speech now. It's a great line from a movie will find its way into the way that you talk, you talk to people. But when you watch that original Thing from Outer Space, it's in there too. That same interaction between the characters. You don't get the feeling that they're there just to be knocked off. They interact with each other and have their own unique personalities and stuff. And I think that's one of the things that John Carpenter turned up to 11.
Oh yeah.
Aside from amalgamated dynamics being interrupted by the advent of CG in movies, did anybody hate the prequel? And it is a prequel. We can agree on that, right?
Yes, but not because of the special effects. I like the way that the plot came together and the way that they ended it. I liked the idea of the implants. That was very clever.
Yeah, the earring, you mean?
Most people like when you would somebody had it doesn't know how to reproduce inorganic matter, so like fillings and screws and things like that. The thing that I didn't like about it was they made the characters that shouldn't have been easily intimidated. Yeah. The bad guy in that is the most scientific thing, and don't talk to the other people like that. Like, no, I'm sorry. You're talking about potentially the single most biohazardous thing on the planet, and you just want to start drilling into that block of ice. Those writers are going to have to find some other way for that to happen. They can't just nobody in their right mind would do that. Right. Nobody, especially somebody who considers themselves to be a scientist.
Because there could be like a germ or a disease or some kind of microorganism.
Yeah, and this guy, all he cares about is his reputation or whatever. He wouldn't have gotten that far in his career if he was always like that.
We should think about, I'm not trying to take control, but I mean, is that from the bathroom? Oh, cool.
it'd be cool if you had
right
one of
before
her, like,
the other shot. Yeah.
shaving her legs or taking
right?
a bath or
Or
something.
armpits or something like that.
Yeah, I wanted to use an example for another remake. that was kind of for the
What's
remakes
that?
being good or bad.
What's that?
It's Get
Yeah.
Carter.
Super deformed.
Get Carter?
The original movie Get Carter.
Oh,
it's fucking awesome.
The original was a good movie.
Oh
Like,
my
it
god,
was
seen it.
good.
Sorry,
right?
never seen it.
But
I know Michael Caine's in there.
That's
it's a monster of its time.
That's
he's the gangsta in that.
I love the Stallone one.
That's Elmore Leonard, right?
that's
Elmore
the-
Leonard wrote that.
That's the type of movie.
I don't think so.
That's the type of
I
movie
gotta look it up now.
that can win from being remade later on. But
Yeah.
here's where I think it's funny, where it's fucking hilarious. And it's one of the things that people don't realize. There's a lot of movies out there that are posing as new movies, but they're actually remakes.
Of course.
Right.
One of them here, it's one of my perfect freaking example. One of my favorite movies. It's Payback.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that they did is that they came back. They did a Get Carter remake, which flopped. They did a Get Carter remake, and then there's Payback. That's also a Get Carter remake, but it's on its own little monster. Even though it's Get Carter, and Payback is fucking way better than the original. Even though the original is great, Payback is fucking awesome because he actually succeeded into making you hate and love the guy.
Right.
No, I was thinking.
And you root
40.
for him at the end. You totally fucking root for the guy at the end.
Yeah, whereas in Get Carter, when he bites it at the end, you're just kind of like, no, I mean, and that's sort of the point too in that film.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Different taste, different monster. But you have to admit, Payback, dude. Wow. To me, it's freaking awesome. It's
The island.
Well, there's a lot of that in Blood Hunt, of course.
Yeah, he inspired Blood Hunt. Yeah.
The Island seemed like a remake of Logan's Run to me, kind of.
Which one?
The Island.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah, it was intended to. Technically, I remember back then they were looking for people to work on the remake of Logan's Run.
Oh,
and that came out instead.
What remakes haven't you seen that you would like to see?
Logan's Run would be one. I actually did concept art for it.
I've thought of that. Yeah,
I did concept art for it when I was in university for a project when they were trying to bring it back. Yeah,
that's so cool.
They also tried to do a Captain Flam.
Oh wow!
And they came to our school and I did a few concept art for that too.
I think Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to do the title role for Logan's Run. I mean, I heard he was in it.
It's okay. That would be kind of on point. He drops all his girlfriends at 21.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, sure does.
Do you know anything about Logan's
Just
Run?
be yourself. Be yourself, Leonardo.
Oh my God, genius!
I
That has to happen.
Study for this role.
That has to happen.
I always wanted to see the $6 Million Man done over again, but I think they were going to put Jim Carrey in as a comic role, like they did Starsky.
I cannot stand when they do that. Now, I can't always not stand it. I mean, I thought Starsky and Hutch was funny, but it would have been. What else are you going to do with it? It's just another police procedural.
I would like to see the Bionic Man though.
I would
Of
too.
course, we done the $6 trillion man at this point.
Yeah, I'd have that $6 million man adjusted for inflation.
And I would like to see him powered with a thorium battery. Please, let's raise the awareness.
Right.
Molten salt battery. It would have been really cool to do it if they had get a hold of Lee Majors before he quit, so he can be Oscar Goldman.
Did you enjoy Lee Majors seeing the Bionic Man being Ash's dad in the series?
Yeah, that's what I say. He's good in Asher Steel Dead. That was hilarious.
He's Ash's dad in Evil Dead the series.
Right.
That's my favorite show, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
You guys see Doomsday? You guys seen that movie?
Hey, it's
Doomsday?
pretty good. I think
it's
the second season or the third season, I think. But there's a moment where it turns really weird.
Yeah.
Like where they got affected by the woke agenda. And
Yeah,
at the end, they just went, fuck this shit. And at the end, they went, fuck this shit. And that's how it ended.
It goes through waves. But
Because
I still love it.
Is that the one where they're in like Vegas or something?
The third season is where they brought in Ash's daughter. And then that's when, he gets emasculated all the time. It's not just comedy anymore.
Oh, okay.
It gets fucking stupid. And then, like at the end, they go, you know what? Fuck this. We're going out with a bang.
Yeah.
And they do go out with a bang.
Well, what I really loved, the one FU that to the SJWs that I really loved was in Hannibal, right? Because that show got to a point where Twitter was writing it.
Oh wow!
And what the David Slade, the creator of the show, did was he took the two main characters and he just rolled them off a cliff. Like, fuck you, bye.
Oh,
Peace out. Yeah, try picking up from where I left off. Yeah, because it was just like Twitter was writing that show. They bent over harder than even like The Walking Dead, and that's saying something.
It's horrible. I liked his 30 Days a Night. That was great. I was gonna say about Doomsday. That was a remake, kind of a soft remake of Escape from New York, but it had some cool shit in there, like the castles.
It's not a remake. It's not a remake. It's a movie mashup.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you've heard music mashups.
Yeah.
Doomsday, which I love to pieces, is a movie mashup of Escape from New York, Mad Max.
Yeah, there's some Mad Max in there.
The Italians used to do that all the time in the 80s, in the early 80s.
Did you guys see Lockout?
Yes.
Is that the one with Guy Pearce?
With Guy Pearce, like
It's
technically similar to freaking Escape from New York or Escape from LA. Same type of premise. But dude, Guy Pearce is so fucking awesome.
He is. He's good in there.
He gets me cracked up, dude. I saw as soon as I saw the opening scene when he's sitting there in that chair, I'm like, I want that guy to be Nat. Like back then,
I was about to say he could play Nat.
I wanted him to be Nat, dude.
He'd be awesome.
He'd be good, dude. He doesn't get that many roles either.
A goddamn face, go
like that.
I know.
You wanted him to play who?
He should be a much bigger star.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Nolan verse. Because of Memento.
Make him a ginger and bulk him up a little bit more, and he'd be perfect. Like attitude-wise, in there, he's not.
He's very underused. He needs to play more of those badass, like Snake Plissken type characters.
He should be a much bigger. He's one of those guys. I don't understand why he's not like a huge star.
And if you don't know what it is, it's a movie by Luc Besson, and that's the one that he actually lost because you know that he pretty much gets sued by every time he makes a movie, he gets sued because all these movies are technically ripped off from comic books, other movies, and mashed.
Yeah, I mean,
and he gets away with all of them except that one. He did not get away. Carpenter got his ass.
Did he really?
Yes, he paid.
You see, that's where I'm like, come on, man, that's bullshit. It's not the same thing. It's inspired by, unless you're using the name Snake Plissken and Escape from New York, let it fucking go.
I mean, it is in space, dude.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that it's the worst thing. Dude, The Fifth Element is really fucking a lot the Inkle. Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it's so much the Inkle. That one should have been the one to get him like, poof, fuck you.
But
not only that, but Roger Dean should have gotten paid tons of money for Avatar. Yes. That was criminal. That was outright theft.
I mean, the Fifth Element employed
Roger Dean.
No, the Fifth Element employed like Luc Besson had Mobius in.
But that's why he got away with it. That's the fucking ruling that made him get away with it. Is that he hired the Mobius to do concept art? So he went. No, then he did storyboards. Like,
do you guys ever watch Razor Fist? He did a thing on French comic illustration. It was outstanding.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I live French comics.
I don't. I disagree with Razor Fist on politics a lot. When it comes to art, like, he's like a pulp guy to the core, and like Sim and I are like the two great. In CG, we're like the ambassadors for French comics.
Yeah, I'm French Canadian, so I've been reading them for a long time, and I have one of the biggest collections.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, and
you're gonna let me do this or not?
Yeah, and what's the one word that we have to say to everybody here,
nice,
Sim? Meta Barons.
Yeah, Meta Barons. Dude, Inco, Meta Barons, Techno Priest, and then continue.
And Metal Hurlant.
I love their just format, man. Even this large format, the way they do everything. They can treat it like rock stars over.
And the thing is, you're lucky right now because for the longest fucking time, the only way you guys could get French comics was by the generosity of Heavy Metal Magazine.
Yep.
Now, Titan Comics we are reprinting most of those shit. So I've been talking to you guys about Drouillet for so many fucking years. They have them all in reprint, in original right now, English print. You can get them for cheap.
Okay.
You can get a whole bunch of stuff. You can get Mobius. Like they were never available before.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that you guys. Somebody was asking about what are you talking about, Roger Dean and Avatar. There's a link in the private chat. Roger Dean, you guys are all familiar with his work. If you've seen him do anything, his album cover work for Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Asia, whatever. Okay, that's his work.
Oh.
And whenever I saw Avatar, I was like, I've seen this before. Every time I went to the record store and went going through albums, I'd always go look at these.
What, the floating rocks?
Hmm?
The image of the floating rocks?
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen that so many goddamn times.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
It used to be in so many comics in the 60s and 70s.
But Roger would, but the way that it looks like, it's not just the floating rocks. I mean, if you go through it more, you'll see like the colorful dragons and stuff like that. Well, this is a short article. Yeah, this is like a really short article.
Yeah, because I just see two pictures. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Look up Roger Dean.
Because I'm like,
look up Roger Dean and an image search. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's in your face. I don't know how anybody didn't just look at it and go like, oh yeah, how about that?
I hate to be the party pooper, but we got another show coming on at 11.
I was about to say, I'm.
No, I know this thing always goes on pretty long, and I gotta I gotta clean up and make my lunch and stuff.
Oh my gosh, the Dragon's Dream.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next movie?
Oh, that's a good question. Suggestions?
Well, we were talking about
Hollow Man. Did you do that one?
I'm gonna say the same thing every week until we actually get to see it.
It has to not be behind a paywall. That's the only rule.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
So if you're not sure, look it up on Internet Movie Database, and there's a button you can click to see where you can see the film. If you can,
well, I've been looking it up on look it up on Real Good, and I believe that the canal is still on Tubi.
The canal?
Is it? Let's see. Yeah, it's a
it's on Tubi and Crackle.
Yeah.
But that's always going to be whatever. I mean, I think it's really good. It's creepy. It is. And it's a little slow moving, but I'm trying to remember the one plot device that it uses that reminds me of something else, and I think it was I just thought about it at dinner tonight, and it was bugging me. It's like like when I can't say because then I'll end up giving it away, but anyways, that's my suggestion.
Oh man, I see they've got Shocking Dark on there, which is an Italian combination. We're talking about movie mashups, and I was saying how the Italians used to do that shit all the time. Shocking Dark is a cross between Alien and the Terminator, and then there's another.
That sounds like Heavy Metal or Hardware.
Right. Yeah.
Hardware was good.
Well, Hardware is pretty much like a movie version of a story that you see in creepy and eerie magazines, like the Warren.
Did you guys ever see
Over
Screamers?
and over and over again.
Yeah,
I did see Screamers. Yeah.
Yeah, read the book, saw the movie.
Based on the Philip K. Dick novel. Yeah, I mean novella, or rather long.
It was a shorter story, but
it's a short story.
Yeah, it was. I liked it a lot.
It was good. There was a couple of cool concepts in there.
Yeah.
Like the cigarettes you have to smoke so that you don't get.
Wasn't that a remake as well? Like
no. It was based on a Philip K. Dick story called.
That I know. But I thought there was another one made before.
Nope.
All right. Well, you guys can kind of kick it in the backstage and decide what you're going to watch next week. Let me know so I can set up.
All right.
So you can.
It's good seeing you again, Pops.
Right. And everybody,
everybody.
Yeah, everybody,
nice
thank you so much for tuning in. We do greatly appreciate you. Does everybody want to say like where they can be found?
YouTube Kit Bash Federation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Matt?
Yeah, sure. You can find me. My channel is Metal Movies and Brewskis. I do reviews on metal movies, beer, comics, and people got their campaigns too. Having people on too, so
right. And I will definitely try and show up for the next one. Sim?
Me, I'm everywhere under sim_Inkslayer. And don't forget to go check out InkSlayerEntertainment.com.
Do it now, bitches. And you, ID?
IDCrisis.com and anywhere that you see ID Crisis or ID Crisis Design on all social media channels.
Okay, awesome. And of course, folks, you can find me on the Twitter at Brian Christgau, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate you, and enjoy the season, and stay scared.
Sweet.
I like that.